This is the OK Show Wednesday edition, and my name is Iceman,
You got Rod Rodriguez.
and we are the
Good
crazy
evening.
duo for now. We're waiting for Pinky to show up midweek, and we're talking about the perils and the perks of fame. Not that we became famous at some point, but there's
But we
somebody
had a
who's
lot-
going to join us
We had a lot of
later
the
on
perks
tonight.
and the perils, right? We had a lot of the perks and the perils. Not necessarily
We
the fame
did?
part. Not necessarily the fame part, but
Oh yeah, all right. So we had a lot of perks and a lot of perils. From what? From being a human being?
from
Or from being
hanging,
assholes?
from hanging out with famous people.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it. That's the trick,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Hang out with famous people. So I mean, okay. So how do you determine if you're famous? Anyways, like on YouTube, how do you know if you're YouTube famous? How do you know if you're Facebook?
Well, I don't
famous?
know.
I mean,
Well, I don't know. Like,
Oh, what?
I
10,000
guess people
followers?
will. No, I don't know. I mean, if people recognize you, then you're famous. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean that includes your dad and your mom or your siblings. Well, what kind of people?
Well, people around you, like, well, they don't count. They're your, like they don't. Your classmates don't count. People you know
People-
don't count.
people
People
who
recognize you.
Yeah, people who you've never met and never been formally
Yeah, when you go
introduced to.
somewhere and somebody would be like,
Alright.
"Oh, hey, you're that person," and you get a seat automatically, or you get to get into club without paying anything, or without lining up or something. So I think
right.
that's the gauge of being famous. I think you're
I agree.
famous because, like,
I
oh, all
agree.
right, wow, I'm getting this, really. So I
So,
think that's yeah.
So
in a
what
way.
what comes first? I guess obviously the exposure comes first, but I mean when you think about it, what does really come first, the exposure or the fame? Because like nowadays with social media and everything, like you hear about stuff and you haven't really seen the viral video yet, and then you hear about it, and then you search, and then you see the video, and then so
Viral. See, that's a different kind of fame. With the internet now, people have those viral moments, but that's it. If you can't follow it up, then that's it. You know what I'm saying?
And these people are not necessarily like talented or anything. They just maybe
Right.
slipped on the
So
floor
that's
at the right
that's
time.
a different kind of fame. I wouldn't want that kind of fame. Like, have one
I wouldn't.
viral thing.
I wouldn't mind.
That's-
Like I take whatever exposure I can get.
Yeah, but I mean,
But not-
what
yeah,
are
yeah, I
viral
agree with you.
things? Mostly it's sort of a negative thing. Like
Embarrassing
people,
moments.
yeah, embarrassing moments. They laugh at you. And they remember those things, and they
Mhm.
they remember that you did something really stupid or whatever, like really funny, and yeah, that's how they remember you. And like, yeah, you'll get a little bit of recognition, but it's not like you worked for it and you're known to be a person with skills, with talent, and that's why you became famous and stuff. So I think I would rather have that, like the traditional way of getting famous.
Being famous because of your talent or an accomplishment or some sort.
Nobody
I
gets
guess-
famous
I mean-
overnight. You have to work on it.
I mean,
At least I believe so.
Here's the thing with viral too. It's like you can be famous already and still go viral. Like Janet Jackson during the Super Bowl performance where her nipple slipped because Justin
Right.
Timberlake accidentally grabbed her boob or something. I mean, they're famous already, but obviously maybe some folks were watching the Super Bowl halftime show and they like immediately YouTube that because they heard about it. So it can still go viral. And some people actually intentionally try to go viral just to create a ruckus. Like if they have a movie that's coming out, they have a concert that's coming up, and sometimes you see that it's kind of forced. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for the folks out there were regulars of this show, however many or few you are, rest assured that whatever silliness that we go through here on the show, it's intentional.
Intentional.
No, probably not. Most not. I don't. Have we ever had anything? Okay, our best episodes back in the day were the ones that we really were spontaneous, right?
Yeah,
Am I
and,
right?
and, and
Am I
we
right?
did radio, so it was kind of different. It's
was
different
different.
from like how things work now. Everything is
Yeah,
people are filming things, people are recording things, and
yeah,
our background is more on doing an everyday thing. It's a
Yeah.
lifestyle. We talk about
Yeah.
stuff, we talk about things, and sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're annoying, sometimes they're really sad. So it was
and
kind of different. But
and
like people listen to
yeah,
us because they just want to be with us, just keep us on the background because they feel some sort of connection with us in a way.
they hear our voices. Like
I think so. I don't
we're
know.
like
Like
the
I was
goofy
like that.
companions. We were like the goofy
I think
companions.
so because when
Like
I was listening to radio, I wasn't into radio yet. I listen to people who I like listening to. I don't really care what they're talking about or
I get
what
you. I
topic they
get you.
have, but I just like listening to them
I get you.
because it's just soothing in the ears. Like yeah,
I'm the same way with YouTube now. I not well, obviously I follow a lot of podcasts as well, like Joe Rogan and all those guys. But I'm the same way now. You kind of find a personality, whether it's a radio guy, a YouTube guy, a podcast guy, and you kind of attach yourself to this person. And I remember you mentioning before, like he could be talking about something you cannot relate to. Maybe it's something that happened in his home state and you've never been to the States or whatever. But for some reason, you kind of get his humor, his delivery, his take on the situation, and it comforts you. And I don't know if that's the effect we have on people. Obviously, we have contrasting personalities. I mean, we're really good buds. We're best buds, but at the same time, we have different views. We have different perspectives. We come from different backgrounds. So when people listen to us, it's not like you're listening to two guys agreeing on everything. Where it's like watching a movie review with Siskel and Ebert, where Siskel would give thumbs up, Ebert would say thumbs down, but it
right.
works. It works because this guy sees something that the other guy
Okay,
doesn't.
so who would be Stephen A. Smith and who would be Skip Bayless here?
Says skip. I think I think you would be Skip. I
I
think
would be
you're
Skip. I
more.
think I
I
would be
think
Skip. I'm more of a Skip.
Yeah, you're more of like you don't care what people say. You can be the minority and not care. You're Skip. You're absolutely Skip, man. Do you even have to ask that? You're Skip. You're Stephen A. Jackson. What are you talking about? You're that guy who would wear your opinion on your sleeve, and you've kind of become known for that. And I've been the guy who I don't know if people will say I play it safe, but truth be told, it's not like I'm hindering myself from an opinion I want to share. Like if it's not a big deal, if it's not a life or death matter, I really can just go with the flow. Like, if it's not worth the hassle, I mean, but if it's something I feel strongly about, which thank God I only feel strongly about video games and not nothing serious. Whereas you feel more strongly about a lot of more significant issues and things at hand, then I would say yeah, you're definitely the Skip. You're the Skip. I'm the Shannon because I try to. It creates balance, I think. But then again, when people listen to us, they probably
Shannon.
think they
Funny
probably
how
think
you reference Shannon and I reference Stephen A. Smith because I watched the show way back when they were together, but because Skip
yes,
has to go somewhere,
yes,
so
yes.
Stephen A. Smith
That's
they're now
right.
in different networks. But
It's with
you're like
Max
Shannon.
Kellerman. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
with
know who
Max.
Shannon is. I think
With
I've
Max
seen him.
Kellerman. Shannon
Like
Sharp, the football player, the big
right.
guy. He's
But I
a
think
Hall of Famer.
I like the chemistry of Skip and Stephen A. Smith because they were funny when they were fighting.
Oh
Shannon is
yeah,
okay, but like
because
even
they were
Max
both
Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith,
strong
Skip and Steven.
personalities.
Yeah, I think so.
They're
I
both
think so. Yeah,
and if you watch Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, you can see that Stephen A. Smith is just bullying. He's just
Max. Yeah,
bullying Max Kellerman because Max is
that's
young.
true.
No matter what he says, the only topic they can discuss where Max is on top is boxing. And Stephen A.
Boxing.
Smith
I
will
think so.
admit to that. He'll admit to that. He'll say, okay, that's your thing. That's your, So, but he bullies Max Kellerman. I mean, and you can tell, unlike let's say with Skip and Stephen A. Smith, Skip's not going to be bullied, man. He's not going to be bullied, and it's just how it is. They'll yell at each other if they have to, but that's the chemistry. And sometimes it's funny because like when my wife like she sees me watch the replays of their shows because I don't have cable, and my wife's like, "Why do you like watching two guys yelling at each other?" And I'm like, it's not. See that what's noise to other people is music to others, right? It's like right we're programmed that way. We
Right.
like listening
Where
to
you can tell
arguments.
her because I cannot yell at you. Now I'm looking at these things. I'm looking at this show, so I can yell in my
Yeah,
mind.
I can't yell at my wife. I can't yell. You know what she'll pull? She'll pull the "Satsat ka na satsat, para kang babae" card. She'll always pull that card on me, and that will always make me shut up. And nothing against women, it's not like a gender thing, but she will always pull that on me. She'll be like, "Satsat ka na satsat, para kang babae." So I'm like, okay,
All
all
right.
right. So I guess only women
So
can talk that
she's
much.
sexist. on our own kind.
On her own, yes, yes, and that's exactly it. But that's that's actually a good topic too. It's like, are we? It's really, can you really pull the rate the gender card on any argument? Because at the end of the day, sometimes most of the time you end up being sexist towards your own gender, right?
Right.
Us
Yeah.
men, right? We're guilty of that too. So all right, so today we have a guest, and as it's become a tradition on Wednesdays, but don't expect too much. Don't expect this to be a regular thing because it depends on the availability of the people we are bugging to join us on the show. We have he's also part of the broadcasting fraternity. This is a guy who was a DJ. I think if chronologically, he started out as a DJ, and then he well, okay, maybe we'll start with him being a musician, and then he became a DJ, and then he became a legit sort of musician when he became a part of a reality search on MTV. It was called MTV Supahstar, and he represented Davao. I don't know if that was a nationwide thing where they represent their cities or what, but he won along with City. If you remember City of the Bossa Nova fame, she also won. So I think there were three or four of them. Another group won. So he'll enlighten us. But anyways, he won, and he got major exposure. He was able to perform live, like in a full-on concert. He was featured in Nina's music videos. He worked with Andrew E, I think, on a couple of rap pieces, and he was really exposed to that world in Manila where a lot of us are not exposed to, in Davao, because we just either never bothered to pursue that, or the opportunity never opened up. So we're gonna have him. He's Buboy Kimpo. He is a product of Davao, but he was born in the States. He grew up in the US, and he would come home to the Philippines in spurts. I think maybe a year of high school here, then he'll go back to the US, and then come back here, a year of high school again, college, go back. That was kind of like how it was. And I met him through the radio station, my first radio station, because he was part of our junior jocks. They were our like campus patrollers, and they started out like these mass comm students who would come in and do some board work, and then later on we kind of absorbed them and gave them their own show. So he will talk more in detail about his background, but it is Mr. Buboy Kimpo. So a lot of you might actually know him personally, and he's a familiar face. So we'll have him in about 10 minutes, maybe. We'll have him in about 10 minutes. He'll also talk about life in the States, because that's where he lives now with his family. He has two beautiful daughters. I am the godfather, Ninong, to one of his daughters, and he's much younger than I am. He's younger than Ice, but I don't know. The guy's kind of, he has this very serious side, but he also has this very goofy side. But the serious side, obviously kind of lets him get along with guys older than himself. So he was one of the guys I got really, really close with, because we kind of both had that same background of living in the States when we were in high school and stuff. So we could relate. And that's the thing. Like with Iceman now, how long have you been in Japan, Ice? More than 10 years, right?
Right. About 14, maybe 14 years.
14 years. Okay,
Yeah.
imagine this. Imagine the impact on me already. The way I think, the way I speak, the way I carry myself, the way I see things. And I only stayed in the US for what, 7 years? You've been
Right.
there for twice. So what I'm saying is, Iceman definitely has a side to him that's very Japan, that he probably would not be able to explain, or people wouldn't comprehend, unless you've lived in Japan and you've been in a
Yes.
situation. So,
Yes.
do you feel that way when you're here in Davao or in the Philippines, and then you meet somebody who lived in
Yeah.
Japan and like you guys talk?
Well, it depends, because some people who come here, they don't really assimilate. They're very
I know
persistent
it.
to, they're still
Yeah,
Filipinos.
you explain
Like,
that to me.
right. So it's kind of like, well, it depends on
Yeah,
the kind of Filipino I meet back home.
that's so
Because
true.
sometimes, yeah, they're so resistant. They're just like, now we just got a letter from the city hall, and now they're actually being specific now that, oh, see, um, the people who have COVID are mostly foreigners. So we have this much people infected, and almost 80% of it are
Are
foreigners.
foreigners. Ouch.
So they've been telling everybody to don't do anything like church. Filipinos are so stubborn; they still go to church. They still have their church thing going on, and they still have their parties going on. People are getting married and have this, not really big, but they have people on their wedding and stuff like that. And it's, like, oh man,
I
the,
get
the
you, man.
Japanese government, or at least two cities here, because I live in Kani and Minokamo. They're like, like nearby cities. They're actually neighbors, and lots of Filipinos from both the cities. And yeah, there's so much COVID infection coming from the Filipino community, so they're really feeling the pressure, and they're actually sending letters to all the foreigners and like, please don't do these things, and it's embarrassing
It
because it's
is.
on
It
the
is.
news.
It is.
It's on the news, and I live in
It
a place
is.
where there's no foreigner, and I'm the only Filipino here in my
Mm-hmm.
community. And I don't want people to think like, oh, let's not, let's not,
Yeah.
well, we don't really mingle with people here. Like, Japanese don't do that. Like,
But it's
how
become a
Filipino,
stereotype. It's become a
yeah.
stereotype. I
I don't
mean,
want to be like, my kid goes to elementary school, and I don't want her classmates to be like, oh, let's stay away
yeah.
from snow because
'Cause
maybe
it will
they're
be a
hanging out
form
with
of
other Filipinos.
discrimination. It'll be a
It
form of
will be.
discrimination. I mean, see, that's the thing. We can have that as a topic as well. Like how sometimes the the good things about being Pinoy can turn into a bad thing or a negative thing when it's done in a foreign soil. Like just in Hong Kong, if, I mean, I'm not even gonna go there, but you know what I'm saying? It's like we just like to, I don't know, why can't we just follow the rules for once? I mean, we do, but there are times when kind of tradition takes over, and oh, it's tradition. Oh, because we're Pinoys, we do this. I mean, that's, yeah, do that in the Philippines, but respect the laws and the ordinances of other countries, especially if they're the ones giving you that livelihood. Like, but we'll talk about that. We don't want to start on a like that kind of note, but we do have somebody who is our guest, and he has lived in the States, and he kind of crosses both roads. He's in, because he is an American citizen, and he is half American, so to speak, in terms of his growing up years, but he's also very Pinoy, in terms of, I guess there's a side to him that's Pinoy. We'll find out. All right. So I'm going to send him the link now, and he's gonna join in. Ice is gonna put him on. And
Right.
Boo Boy, if you're on board, just copy the link, and then I'm not sure if I gave you the right link, but copy the link. Don't click it. Copy it. Paste it on your what's it called, on your browser, and then it'll take you to the what's
Rod
it
has
called.
3 microphones, Gabby. He has 3 microphones. I don't think that's new. Is that a new microphone? Or is
No,
that the
this is the
same
it's the
microphone? You
first one
just
I
took
bought.
off the, okay,
It's
the
the
first
first
one,
one I
yeah?
bought. This is the first one
That's
I bought.
okay, different one from the last one you used
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because what
last
what
Monday.
happened?
Okay, that's
What
not it.
happened was
All right,
I
okay.
bought this microphone. This is the one that we were using at the studio in Kilby, and um, I bought this microphone. The one I bought was defective, so I brought it back into the place. They had it repaired, and then I needed a mic because I did not have a mic, and I needed to continue with my podcast. So I bought a new one. I upgraded. Then they got it fixed. So there, and then and I need two new microphones because I have guests. Right? Remember when I used to have
Right.
guests on the show? So yeah. So anyway, it's not new. It's actually a down. It's just actually the cheaper mic, compared to the other one. The other one is, I don't know. I don't really know what the difference is. I'm not a techie guy. I just go with what the guy tells me. Sir, mas nindot yun ni sa sir. Okay, take my money. All right. So
Don't you have
anyway,
YouTube? And just go on the reviews?
no, no, no. But here's the thing, dude. I don't 100% rely on YouTube reviewers because a lot of them contradict. Like, I'll watch a YouTube reviewer, he'll say this is the best mic for this use. And then another guy will say this is the best mic for this use. And we don't know if it's sponsored. We don't know if that was given to them. We don't know if they are basing it on that price range alone. I mean, it's the best mic in the $50 range. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really say much. I mean, if that's the range you're after, of course it's the best mic. But there's no way a Kia Pride is better than a Mercedes Benz, at the end of the
Okay,
day.
how much
So
is that mic?
this mic, probably less than $100.
All right. Okay, fair enough.
It was less than $100. I think you can buy it for like $70. You can buy it for $70 on sale, like around
Mhm.
$70. I mean, yeah, and the you can buy this for around $70. If you wait for the sale online, you can get this for $70. I got this not on sale because I bought it at the store here. I didn't buy it online. I didn't. But I don't know if significantly makes my voice any better or what. But like I told you, man, there are tiers to this. We know people in the broadcast industry who have 50,000 peso mics. So I don't feel guilty at all. I am like in
Right.
the lower tier of mics here. And we're broadcasters, we're
That's true.
professionals.
Mike, okay,
So
I believe Mike's important, but 50,000 peso
yes.
mic? Really?
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
a sure microphone would be okay with me.
Yes.
Because
Sure is great.
I would say, Mike, yeah, it is important. It is very
I,
important.
I just want that Rode one or the Shure one that Joe Rogan uses. Is that Shure? I don't even know
But
if that's
talent
Shure.
is the most
Send this.
important thing.
You can't
You
pay. You
might
can't
have
buy
a
that.
50,000 peso mic, but then you can still be crap. You know what I'm
You
saying?
can't. You can't buy talent. That's for sure.
But then it would be worse if you don't have talent, then you don't have a good mic. Then that's
No, no,
even worse.
but you can pay people. You can pay people into like following your show. Like, you can like, you know what I'm saying? Like, regardless if you have talent or not, right? I mean,
Sure to be sure. I think, yeah, I love Shure. Shure microphones, I love them.
does Willie Revilla may have talent?
What, Willie? Well, yeah, I
Willie,
think so. He
okay,
does.
so there you go.
But
So it's subjective.
he's
It's
in a
subjective.
different market. It's a different market, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So maybe these people are getting paid a lot.
Sure,
Sure.
SM7B
Yes.
Rod,
That's the
right?
one. That's the one. That's Do you have that, Jong? Is that what you have? Do we have Buboy? Are you on already? Buboy, if you just click the link, copy it. No, don't click the link, copy it, and then it'll take you to and then Ice will know if it's working. So hopefully as soon as we have him on board, we'll get the show going because we'll talk about more than his
All right.
stint.
Ice, just a question. Are you using phantom power for your mic? Your audio quality is so nice.
No, he's not. I don't
I
think he
don't
is.
even
He's not.
know what
He's
phantom
not.
power is. I'm
He's
using a
not.
5-line
He's
K69B.
not because he's
It's a
using a
very cheap
USB
mic.
mic.
It's a
He's
USB mic,
using
and
USB mic.
it's really cheap. It's just $30.
So the phantom power, you need that if you have an XLR. That's
All
when you
right.
need the
Okay.
phantom power.
I don't even know what that
So
is.
I learned all of that stuff when I did the podcast thing. I was thinking about getting a USB mic, and then
Okay,
I
John
think you
saying, no, I'd
can't
love to.
justify.
I can't justify a $400 mic purchase. Bagay na sa inyo.
Yeah, yeah, but he can justify $5,000 guitar purchase.
Of course.
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
half
So
man, half guitar.
yeah, but we're supposed to be half man, half microphone, aren't we? This is the tools of our trade. What are
Well,
you talking
okay.
about? Come
Let's
on.
say, all right, would you buy a 50,000 peso mic? Like a
If I had
$1,000 mic?
it depends. If I had all the money in the world, yes. But if I was tight on the
Well,
budget,
of
no.
course. If I have the money, why wouldn't I? I don't care if it's a
I don't
million.
know.
If
I
I have
wouldn't
a million,
know.
I'd buy it.
But I wouldn't know. But honestly, you could. I mean, let's not lie about it. If you really wanted to, you could buy it for 50,000. These people get the people who are buying these mics. They haven't. What are you telling? Okay, I'll tell you later who these people are. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's not about the money. It's
Right,
about
right.
priorities. It's
Okay,
about
ladies and
priorities.
gentlemen, we
Yes,
were
you got
just
them.
talking about our guest earlier. He was in the well, chronologically, he was a musician first. Then he became a
Mm-hmm.
radio DJ with Rod at UR 97, and he became a superstar with MTV. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's a guitar collector as well, and he lives in Los Angeles now, right, in LA.
Yes, yes.
Right, he's
Silver
in
Lake.
America. He's in the U.S. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Buboy Kimpo.
Woo! Superstar in the house.
Hey,
Dude, you live in your car now?
yo.
life stuff, huh?
That's what happens if you become a superstar. You live in your car. That's a big
Yeah.
limo.
There's no such thing as a rich guy in the States. I mean, I can honestly attest to that. So, Boo Boy, what's up, man? What time is it there now?
What's up? It's 5:23 in the morning.
Oh, jeez. You on your way to work?
I'm actually in a hotel room and my family's asleep. So
Oh, okay. So you
I'm
So
decided
you
like
to
have to
be
here
there.
in
step
the
out
parking
and stay
lot.
in the car. All
Yeah,
right.
outside
Okay.
the room. Right,
All
right.
right.
Acoustics, man. Good acoustics.
All right. Confession. First confession. I thought that Rod Rodriguez was actually you, right?
Yes.
'Cause-
Yes. Yes.
so when people were
For
talking
the
about like, oh,
longest
Rod
time,
Rodriguez is joining us because we were
he
at,
was
like we were having a
picturing
meeting
you.
at Killer Bee, and I was like picturing like, yeah, I know that guy from UR 97. I know that guy. I know that guy. Then he came in, and I was like, I didn't pay attention. All right, and it was like, who was that? Oh, that's Rod Rodriguez. I'm like, really? That's Rod? That was him? I thought that was the other guy. I'm like, and then he told me like, no, but I know who Mike Masterboo is, but I've never seen him. But for some
Yeah.
reason,
He
I
probably
think
thought I was Mike
I thought he
Masterboo.
was Rod Rodriguez.
Wow,
No, but I
I
haven't seen
haven't
you
heard
before,
Yeah.
Mike Master Boo in a long time.
right?
Yeah.
No, that was your air
Oh.
name, yeah, Mike Masterboo. I remember
Yeah, it
that, of
was. It
course.
was.
What was your opening when you turned on the mic? You would say something or like, "What's
I
like?
would
Can you smell?"
it was a play off The Rock.
Yes, and then you would like
The
turn on the
Rock was
mic
the
and you'd be
biggest
like,
thing back then, and I would say, "Finally, Boo is back on the air."
Yeah, I'd say something like that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you
And
do the
nice.
morning show or the night show? Was it like a night shift or like a morning show?
I was in the evening because we had a lot
Uh,
of aside from Rod and I, it was a lot of female DJs. So they said, we'll do a
Amber,
duet at the
Felony.
nighttime
Felony was a part of
because
your group, right? Wasn't Felony part of your group?
or was it still Maythorn
no, that
at
was
that
the
time?
next
Maythorn?
It was
the
Casey. It
next
was
group.
Casey, right? You were in Casey's group.
No.
Not really. Which group were you a part of?
I went in with Katie and Alex.
Oh, so you go way back. You go way back.
Yes.
Yeah, you go way back.
Alex. Yeah, I remember those girls. Right.
Chloe, you remember
I
Chloe
went in with
Summers?
Katie and Alex. I actually I don't. I must have met them like once or twice. I was off
Once or
the air
twice.
already.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's right.
did you do it for a long time, or was it like just a short stint? Was it like more than a
Um,
year?
Ultimate Radio.
That was around early
It
2000s.
Huh.
doesn't it doesn't even matter to him anymore because like what's
You did
Ultimate
so
Radio
much.
compared to MTV? You know what I'm saying?
It's so long ago. It was so long
Yeah,
ago.
that's true. That's true though.
Yeah.
That was like what,
Yeah.
96, 97? Was it around that
No,
time?
no,
Or
no, not
98?
Boo-
not that long ago.
Early
Not that long
2000s.
ago. Yeah,
Early
but
2000s.
2000. It was
Yeah.
2000.
2000,
It
2000.
was the
Ah,
year
yeah, because I was already
2000.
with
Yeah.
91.5. So I was
You
yeah.
were
All right.
you
Okay,
were
I
you were
remember.
doing your nightly show already, Ice. You were Chris Rock and you were doing your talk show already. You
Yeah,
were
because
doing
I
your
was
talk
with
show already.
Power too. Because UR has always been a competition. Power
Yeah.
93, UR 97, then Killer B. Then I moved to
Yeah.
K91. Then it was still K91, UR, then Killer B. Then I remember. Well,
What
you were
happened to
there.
Cool
I think.
106?
Yeah,
What happened to Cool 106 during this
I
time?
don't.
I think the cool no the
They
Cool
they went
106
out of business.
no
I
the
think.
Cool 106 people all went to UR.
I think so. Yeah.
The Cool 106 people went to UR. And let me just say with Buboy, this guy introduced me to so much stuff. When he arrived from the States, and I think it maybe around the time when we first met, maybe second time to come back from the US after I first met him, he introduced me to Linkin Park. He introduced me to Eminem. I think he even introduced me to Slapshock, you know,
I think so.
which is a local band. This guy,
Right.
he brought a big like CD case, and something about people coming from the US, they bring back all these CDs. Because when I came back from the US, I also brought back a lot of CDs. I hope you didn't lend out any of yours, because I'm sure you didn't get them back.
Um,
Did you?
I,
Did you donate some to the station? Because I remember you introduced us
no,
to
not to
Eminem
the
and everything.
station. Not to the station. But that was already a time where burning was
A
we were
thing.
already burning discs in
Yeah.
2000. File sharing
That,
was not so big yet, and
we were using
also
Winamp, I
like
think, right? We were doing Winamp, weren't we? At the station at the time, it was like Winamp.
yes, uh,
Ice, what were
I
you
think we
using at
were.
your station? What were you guys? CD? The CD?
Winamp. When I was with Power and no, we didn't have computers. I know Power 93, we had a computer, but we only use it for the stingers. We never use it for songs. So just the breakers, station IDs, and commercials. Then we would use the what do you call that? Those CDs with cases. They were like sort of like the Denon type of like like those
Oh,
broadcast
so it
players.
plays while it's in the case.
Yeah, you have to put it in the case.
Oh,
So
okay.
you
I don't
take it out from a case,
remember.
then you put it
Yeah,
in another case, then you put it in.
yeah,
With
yeah.
K91, it was just like CD players. So then Killer B. Well, we're so
So
low tech.
yeah.
But all
So for
right,
the
okay, let's
DJs
let's
now,
go to
we're
Buboy. Buboy was a radio DJ. Then you
mm-hmm.
disappeared, yeah. So I
I
was like, oh,
did.
where's Mike Meister, Boo? Like he disappeared. Did you? What happened? And the next thing I know, you were like with MTV. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
MTV Superstar. Oh, this guy's back. Where did he go? I'm like, wow, he disappeared. But then
Were you
next
in
thing was like,
Manila for a while, or were you in
oh,
Manila
did
just
you
for
go back
that?
to the States or like what happened
No, I
after
was
your?
in. Yeah, I was in LA for a while. I came back here, and I was taking some food service courses. Believe it or not. Uh,
You're a chef,
I
by
went
the way. For
here.
those that don't know, he's a chef.
I'm not a chef.
Not a
I
chef
went to chef
technician.
school.
Not a chef technician.
No,
Okay, so all right, so,
well,
That's a
I
radio
came
joke. That's
back
a
to
radio
school
joke.
here.
right.
I came back to school here, and then when I got back to Davao, uh,
This is what year now? Like
Monster
2004? No, 2000 what? 2003? So when you went back to the
up
States and did your studying, was it like a year or a couple years?
that was 2 years.
2 years. Then you
That was
came
two
back. So let's
years.
say
I
what, like
came
about
back.
2004, 2005?
Yeah, it was about 2003 or 2004
All right.
because that's when MTV Superstar started. But before that, I was recruited by Monster.
Ah, you were with Monster too.
So
All right. Right. I
Hey,
remember
hold
now.
on,
yeah,
hold
Monster
on, hold on.
Radio.
You
Yes,
you
yes,
you
yes,
were
yes,
part of
yes.
the first group who joined Monster with Don and Jimmy Gomez, right? Was that the
yes.
time?
No, no,
And
no, no.
I
Jimmy was there already.
so I
Jimmy was
wasn't
there
there yet,
already.
right? You were with Monster before I joined in. You were there.
No,
Oh, you? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You joined
I
you
don't know
were
where I
Monster.
there,
was.
and you
Was-
had you were there, but you left right before I came.
Okay, so I was there earlier.
Ah, right.
I was there a few
You were
months. I was
there,
there a few months.
and then you left right before I got there. I came in
Oh, because
with
I remember we became friends with this guy whose mom was in Hong Kong. This guy who looked like Luke Mijares. Was that your friend? I think that
that
guy
was
was your friend.
Jason,
Huh? What's his name?
and he also became a DJ.
Yes, that dude
Yeah,
who looks
Jason.
like Luke Mijares.
Jason,
Yes,
He
Jason,
yes.
does.
Jason, Jason.
Yeah, he was like kind of
And then
hip hoppy and
yeah, I forgot the station, but he had a show in Davao called The Beat, which he played all hip hop music.
yes, he was a big hip hop guy. I remember that dude. I wonder where he
But
is now. But
Was he the Jesus freak guy? No, not him.
no, I
Because there
don't
was
think
like a
so.
monster DJ who called himself like the Jesus freak. But okay, probably wrong. All right, so okay, then you joined Monster. Then after that, you went to Manila, and that's how you got the MTV Superstar.
No,
Um,
Superstar was being advertised all over Davao, and then I interviewed the MTV VJs who were looking for contestants.
you interviewed
oh,
them
So I
okay.
in
decided,
the radio station,
yeah,
right? At Monster.
I
All right,
interviewed
okay.
the VJ. It was Sarah Mira who I interviewed. So they
Yeah.
told me where everything's going down at SM. Judges are going to be there, and I'm thinking Andrew is going to be there. I better pass him my demo. So
Ah,
I went down to pass him my demo. He didn't take it. He said, "Buti na lang mag-audition ka." So I said, "All right." So I sat in line. I
Oh,
skipped
so
school
you
that
weren't
day.
supposed to audition. You were just going to
I
give him your
was.
demo. Oh my
I
god! And
didn't
then he
have
said you
any
better audition, so you
plans.
he didn't
did.
even plan it. So just a
There you
demo.
go.
But
I
what happened was he
no,
ended
I
up
didn't
auditioning. All
want
right. So what
to.
happened? How did the audition
I
go? Did you know like did you get like okay, it's an audition. Lots of people are lining up, and you know how that is. Yeah, like
okay.
some people like really
So
have that confidence, and you were there like, oh man, I can just like trash all of you. Like when I start doing my rap thing or whatever. Like, did you feel that way?
I tried not to feel that way. I just go and do what it is I do. Uh it's total mad respect for all the other contestants.
Right.
So I went in and there's this initial interview. What's your name? Where are you from? And just by me talking to them, having
Mhm.
the DJ background, they already like me.
All
The
right.
judges already like me. So
All right.
the first audition, honestly, I spoke 3 words and they cut me off and they said, "You're in." So just
Really?
come back the next day.
What were the 3 words?
I love that. What were
What
the
were the
three
three
words?
words?
I said, to
Finally.
think of this verse. It was a no. This was an old verse that I wrote. Wow, I can't. This is a 20-year-old song, more than 20 years ago. But
Oh, okay. Was that a rap or was that a song?
it was one of my old songs. I
All
wrote a
right. So
song
you try.
about
Okay,
Davao
you tried
City.
singing it, then they cut you off.
They cut me off just because they knew I could deliver already,
All right.
and they
But that
wanted
was
it to be part
okay.
of the show.
You were singing, not rapping. Yeah, just to be clear, you were
I
trying to
was
sing. You
rapping.
were
I
trying
was
to rap.
rapping.
You were rapping. So three
No, I was
lines.
rapping.
Boom.
Yeah,
That's it. You're
yeah.
in.
He had
All right.
that
All
he had
right.
that
Okay.
swag,
Well, fair
man. He
As
had
enough.
that
All
swag.
right.
as I was in line, I thought if I try to sing, I'm gonna go against hundreds of people. If I rap, I'm gonna go up against like 10 people.
That's right.
All right.
That's
So I
right.
decided
Wow.
to rap.
Smart. Smart.
That was the same batch with CT, right? But CT was in the singing thing, wasn't she? How did that work?
Yes,
Because
and
I
she
know CT was.
she auditioned in Manila,
So,
but yeah,
I remember MTV Superstar had an event at Rizal 183. I don't know if you were there, but I don't know the Kilo B Jocks were there, or I don't know why I was there. I
We
don't know
were
if I
there.
was
We
with
were
Kilo.
there because I was
Were we
there
with were
that
we with
night.
Kilo B already?
We were
So I was
Kiloby
with
already.
Kilo B already when he
That's how I
was.
found out he won because
Okay,
we were
okay, all
announcing the
right,
winners, and
okay.
like we announced his names
Yeah, we were
and like
there. I
all right,
remember
and you told me like, oh, that's like I work with
Mike
him.
Master
That's Mike
Boom.
Master
Okay,
Boom. Like, oh yeah. And then I saw him. Like, all
that
right, you were there,
Gab,
yeah, that night.
you. I think he was there. There was another Filipino guy who was like singing old songs, and he was like kind of like a novelty act. I don't remember. He kind of looked he was short,
that
kind of
was
What who?
dark.
Sigbin? Was it like
yeah.
Sigbin Commander? Like
What was that
that's
guy's?
him.
Who was that guy? He was like a
Commander
novelty act.
Sigbin.
He
Was
went
that
by
him? No,
Dodong.
a
Yes,
Dodong.
that Dodong guy. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he
he
went by
won, but I
Dodong.
think yeah. So anyway, anyway, Gabby D is on board, and there's a song that he keeps bugging me about when I was at Kilo B, and we would play local vocal, which was our Monday show where we'd play, the local music, and that song happens to be your song, and he couldn't get the intro off his head. It was the Humanity song. Tan, 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 tan,
Oh
tan, tan,
wow!
tan, tan.
Right,
Yes.
right.
You still
So
remember that song?
Gab, if you're
I
tuned in
do, I
right
do, I do.
now, that's Buboy. That was his song. Because he'd keep asking me, "What can you play that?" And the Humanity song about your course, right? That was what that was about, Ateneo
Right,
and everything.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that intro was so catchy that I would have to play that song over and over again. I don't know if you had any idea that we were playing your songs, but I actually slipped that in, and it was one of the more requested ones because of the very catchy intro, which was the Humanity song. So this is back then. So we were playing his music way after Superstar. Now, okay. So let's get to the Superstar bit. You made it. You got in. Was it all expense paid? Did they give you the accommodations and everything? Was it the life of fame that we kind of imagine it to be? How was it? Because we're Davao people, we don't really get exposed to that kind of
Yeah, we're
spotlight.
ignorant.
We're ignorant,
Ignorante.
yeah. Basically, yeah, we are. Yeah, basically, we are. That's how they see us. So, how was your
It
experience? Give us guide us through.
okay. So everything was paid for, of course. Food and where we stayed. We had they put us up in a hotel, but there were days where they didn't have anything planned for us.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine yourself in a hotel the whole day,
Oh,
which
jeez.
I mean, quarantine now, that's fine, but before it's like, we're in a different city and with a bunch of people our age, some friends,
Right.
and then you can't do anything.
You can't
Uh,
leave the hotel. Can you leave the hotel?
well,
Though? No, you can.
they didn't want us to leave the hotel. We could
Oh
have
crap!
left the hotel, but we were far from anything, exciting. We
All right,
probably
yeah,
had
that's
a
true
gas
though. Right?
station store next to us, but that's it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, okay, you have a point. Yeah, what's there to do at the gas
and then
station? Yeah.
right, if we did fun things, it was always, they had to have the camera crew around, so they would be filming us. Uh, what is it we're doing, or we had a Ray-Ban sponsorship, so they want us to go film us go into the mall getting our free Ray-Bans, or they had some MTV parties which we got to go to, some video shoots we did, but it wasn't like it was a nice experience. I
How
am
long
looking
was
at the
this?
chat right
What's
now.
up?
That's pretty cool.
Well,
Yeah.
see,
Human
Gab
speed. Yeah,
still
human speed. That's a title, right? Is
Gab
that a
still
title?
has
Human
that
speed.
song.
Yeah.
That is the title.
Oh,
There you
yeah. See,
go. You see
you have
that
a
he still has
diehard
that
fan.
song. That's I told you, man. You never know. You never know. You never know.
Human
You'll strike
speed.
a
That's crazy.
you'll strike a chord with somebody. That was like what, 10 years ago, 20? How long ago was that, dude?
That was like,
When
dude, more than 10 years
what?
ago.
Yeah, you've been in Japan
2006
for
or
14. I s-
2007.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
this is like
That's
about
yeah.
15,
Oh six
16
or oh
years.
seven.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
okay, you go ahead.
when you were staying at the hotel, can you just order things? Would they be okay with it?
That's a
Like,
good
nah, yeah,
question. That's a good question. That's a good question.
or do you have a limit?
No, no, no.
Well, he can, but he'd pay for it. He could,
Yeah,
but he'd pay for it.
it
You know what I'm
was.
saying? Like,
If you get something personal for yourself, MTV's not gonna pay for that. They did not pay for that.
Crap.
They
So
just made
what?
sure you
Like,
had a
okay,
place to stay and something to eat.
you can
all
order
right, okay,
ding
hang on. So
dong.
what?
You
They
can
pay
order
for your okay.
siopaw.
So that means they pay for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's it, and the snacks in between. Is that what it was, or just?
Yeah, we had a grocery budget.
All right, okay. But so basically, if you stay at the hotel and you order a lot of stuff, well, it's not like gonna go to MTV Stab. You have to pay for it. So yeah, all right. So not so
So
fab.
okay, hold on, hold
Right.
on. So
But I was thinking that you're like, all right, party. I'm just gonna have all the
you're
pizzas in the world. But all
the
right,
funny
No.
thing was the position Buboy was in was he was the Davao guy. I mean, if there
right.
was a Cebu guy or a Manila guy,
Yeah, but
they'd all be like more like city slickers type of people. But
yeah, but the thing
he's
with Boo Boy
actually
though is
from the
like
state. He's
yeah,
from the state.
exactly. That's what I'm
He's
trying to
not
say.
a
Yeah, that's what
he's
I was
not a
about to say.
provincial. He's not a provinciano guy.
No,
So I
right?
mean,
So that would be kind
how
of
did that
weird.
strike them? Were they like, you're from Davao, but you're not the
Yeah,
provinciano dude. You're
right.
actually
You'd be
you
like,
speak better English
sup,
than all
man,
of us.
sup.
Um,
I know. How was that?
all right,
You're
all
like,
right.
yo,
There,
Somebody from
I'm
Cebu
gonna
would be
get
like,
to
bye,
that,
bye,
but
bye, bye.
I'm gonna.
What's up? Do
yeah.
like that.
Were you discriminated because you were the Davao guy, and then they heard you speak, and they're all of a sudden they're like, okay, Davao people are Konyo
Nah,
people.
it wasn't like that. Not at all. Uh,
That's nice.
you can, if you remember. Well, wow, I'm going so off topic, but never mind about that. I'll tell you exactly about that right now. There's a term we use called hilau, which
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm embracing now because
Mm-hmm.
that's not our choice. That's
That's
something
true.
people try to make fun of you
That's true.
as, but that's not your choice. But there was one representative from Cebu, and we got to speaking Bisaya over there. Him, I, and the other guy from Davao. But everyone else, they were like, not everyone, but most of them, they there was a couple from Australia, there was another one from America. So we were a pretty big English speaking group.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
There was a lot of us speaking English. I wasn't the only one who wasn't like who grew up in the Philippines over there. So I wasn't anyone special over there. I was
Okay.
another
Right.
one of them. It's like,
And the
okay, oh,
and
he's
the
from
V
Australia.
the VJs were like Casey Montero and Sarah Meyer, right? They're both like kind of half.
Yeah.
Right. So if
Oh,
Okay.
Sarah
there
Meyer.
were
I said her
lots of
name wrong
people.
earlier.
Yeah, Sarah Meyer,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Sarah
So see,
Meyer, Casey,
so,
and then Cindy Corletto.
Cindy
And there's
Corletto,
and
Corletto.
Mark, the guy from Sandwich or whatever that band is that he was
Yeah,
a part of at
he
the
was a
time,
VJ
right?
that time.
Mark. Yeah, he was
Markabaya. Uh-huh.
Markabaya. Yeah. So all right. So okay. So just duration of you did you rub elbows with celebrities? I mean, did you get to really work with people who were legitimately in the business? Because I know you were in Nina's music video. I mean, were there any like juicy celebrity stories that you could share, or was somebody not as hot in person as you were expecting? Or any inside scoop on the celebs you encountered, if any?
Um, there's nothing like really great that I guess is newsworthy.
Yeah.
But I tell you, at that time, I thought Kichi Nadal was pretty hot at that time.
Okay.
She was one of the
Yeah, she
celebrities I
was. She
like to
was
watch,
actually.
and then
She was really cute.
she was one of the big Warner artists at that time. So we had a show, and I finally got to get my picture with her. So yeah,
So that was like
so I
Kitschy,
had a picture with her.
Nina. Who were the popular
Nina
celebrities at the
and
time? It was all about the music scene,
um
right?
Christian Bautista. Christian
Christian
Bautista
And,
was the
and
big one
the
at that
singer.
time.
Right. Right.
okay.
And
All
then
right. So
there was a band called Juana, if you remember them.
Ah, yeah, I
yes,
remember them because
yes,
we played Juana,
yes,
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
Killer
yes.
Bees.
I'm trying to recall what
they
song.
just came
I'm
out.
trying to recall what song, but I know
Yeah,
we
yeah,
played a
yeah.
song
We have
from
one
Juana.
song from Juana.
Yeah, but one song from Juana. That's right. We all remember that.
Oh
It's kind
man.
of upbeat, right? It was kind of upbeat.
It's
Okay.
called
Gabby's. All right.
Unseen or something like that. Anyway,
I
All right.
also have
Well,
this
do you
song
remember
called
your song called "The Track Mark"?
I do remember it.
Right. See, this guy's a
See?
fan. Like
Told you,
Gabby,
man.
like
Finally.
he's got your stuff. Human Speed, Track Mark.
Yeah. You've got a
Like, come on.
stalker, man.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful when you go home to Davao. Be careful with this guy.
Yeah, he's really tall. You can't miss him. He'll follow you
Yeah.
around. He's about 6'2". You know, and he has headphones on, listening to your music, and he has a 38 revolver hidden in his jacket. You're gonna be the Pinoy John Lennon. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
kidding aside, yeah, go
How
ahead.
long was the MTV? How long was the MTV? How long did you tour? Did you okay? You won,
Did you,
and
did you make
did you
money?
tour for about a
Oh,
year? Like
you
how
made
did you?
money, right?
Well, yeah, like the money. Like how did the money
You guys
get
got
in?
paid, right, for winning? How much was it?
All right. Um. Whew, hang on, it's kind of cold here. Um. So we we got some kind of cash prize for winning the contest. Uh, I think it was 100,000 each.
A
There were
hundred
seven of
thousand.
us.
Not bad.
That was a lot back then. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
there were seven of us.
That is,
They gave us 100,000 each. Uh, and then you know
you
what?
bought a
I could
guitar.
be wrong.
You bought a guitar.
No, I didn't buy a guitar. But
No,
I'm
no, you,
thinking
you
right
could you could
now,
you could be wrong. They gave you 100,000, but you had to split it 7 ways.
maybe.
No, probably not. Come on, man.
But I
That's
could have. I could be adding a zero. And what if it was 10,000 each? But that's too
Right.
little,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
did
too
you make
little.
a
I think 100,000. I
I
think
can't.
100,000
yeah?
would be
Did you make
yeah.
a significant
It
purchase after? I mean,
probably was a
did you buy
100,000.
anything? Did you buy anything after? Because if you didn't, then maybe it wasn't
Uh,
100,000.
I don't remember. I honestly,
Okay, but
I don't.
right. So, okay, while this was, like going on at that time, did you feel like, oh, this is my, this is the beginning of my showbiz career? Did you ever felt that way? Like, oh my God, I'm gonna be on TV for the rest of my life. I mean, this is the start. Did you ever
Of
felt that
course,
way? Right. So, like,
I felt it.
um,
I
so how long was this journey
go
with
ahead.
MTV and show business? Like, was it like a year, 2 years, and like what changed along the way? And like you decided to just well, did you drop it or are you still like in like I don't know like what's I know
Dude,
you're in the
you
States,
know what
but
happened, Ice?
are you
He came back
what?
to that. He came back to Davao, and then I saw him and said, "Hey, Buboy." It's like, who you? Do I know you? I don't know you, man. Get out of my
Who
way.
you bitch? I don't
I'm
know you. Like grubby lost. So like, did you ever felt that way or what?
you know
I
if
don't think he'll
Buboy,
do that.
if Buboy did not grow up in the States and humbled when he was growing up back then, it might be different. Buboy might have come off as this like
Well, yeah, because he
this.
grew up in the
I
States,
don't,
so he wouldn't,
he was
like if
born
that
in the
was me, I'd probably be like that. If that was
Yeah,
me,
I know.
made
That's
it
what
to
I'm
the
saying.
superstar, I'd be like,
That's what I'm saying.
who the F are you, man?
I mean,
Get the hell out of my face.
you hear so many horror stories about like celebrities now were popular, but like supposedly went to Tagum High School and now don't speak Tagalog or Bisaya all of a sudden, or like deny that they went to
Right.
Holy Cross or whatever, right? You hear about these like horror stories about Davao celebrities that deny their roots. But Buboy, I mean, his roots is not even Davao.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
It's like the
So I
U.S.
mean, yeah. So that's what I wanted to know. Like, what made you decide to like just go back to the States and not really pursue? Because I know it can be, like it can take a long time before you actually like really make it and have a really big career or something like that. So, what changed for you? Like, in your journey with
actually,
MTV.
actually, actually, nothing happened with MTV.
Right.
So what they wanted to do, we were supposed to be a group.
Right.
We were supposed to be a group of seven because the hottest thing for Warner back then was Black Eyed Peas. So they
Ah,
wanted to make
baby,
us a pop
baby.
group like that with a little bit of hip hop. But
Okay.
as time passed by, as time passed, Warner, we kind of fell through the cracks, and then nothing happened. So I'm a Warner artist, but with no active music going on. Warner decides, let's give a solo career to one of the winners, who was City. Now she's big now,
Okay.
and then the six of us, the rest of us, pretty much
So hang
Nothing
on. So the
happened.
thing was like you're supposed to
So
be a group. So everybody like so
yeah,
that thing was like the contract was supposed to be for the group and not just for one person, right? To my
right.
understanding, with what you're saying. So it's supposed the contract was supposed to be for the group, but then they decided to like, all right, let's just pick one and let's give her the contract. That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Oh crap! That
There
well,
was
did
there
you?
was there was some details I should mention. We had a lead singer guy who wasn't around also. He went abroad,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
and Warner, I don't know how true it was because it sounds like an excuse. Like we can't record because that guy's not here. So they would tell us that. And then
All
that was
right.
the excuse for months. Hey, we can't record because that guy's not here. And then all of a sudden, almost a year after, but long after, City calls me. She says, "Hey, don't be mad, but I need to tell you that Warner and I have started recording already." And I wasn't mad at all. I had no hatred for her, all love. Just I'm like, hey, congrats, you do that because I was back in college getting my degree already back in Davao. So I I Warner was such a long time ago at that point that I pretty much knew nothing was gonna happen anymore. Like whatever
All right.
happened during the Superstar MTV Superstar, it had died down already.
I mean, the songs that you wrote that ended up at our station, I mean, were they around then already? Did you compose any material that you submitted to the recording studio or whatever?
That
Was it
was
even
that was my effort to hold on to what MTV made for me. MTV already put
okay?
my name out there,
Okay.
so I just did stuff in my bedroom, and that was it.
Okay.
So none of that was paid for. None of that was professionally marketed. It was just it was actually the project from our marketing class. I was the product. They said,
Yes,
why don't
yes.
we capitalize on what MTV and Superstar did with Buboy? And then, so I wrote those with a couple of friends
Pretty
from
slick.
Davao who gave me music, and then
So that was like your product
that's what happened to
presentation, you
that.
know? That was your
Yeah,
So
trying to yeah.
this is Humans Beat and the other song, yeah, like
How many tracks was it? There were
yes,
several
yes.
the
tracks
track
on
mark.
it.
All right.
There were like how many
I
tracks was
think
that one?
there were 9 and a remix or 10 and a remix.
Hang on. So if we
Yeah.
play that song
Hey,
now, we wouldn't. Right.
Yeah, go.
let me mention a couple of names.
All right. Right.
But the beat for the track mark was, I think, from Carlos Castaño, who was also a Davao guy,
He's
and the
now in
beat for
Manila. He's
Humans Beat
still
was
making
done
the
by.
live rounds.
Yeah, he's still making music, and
Yeah, still
then
making music.
the beat for Humans Beat was from Ronald Gary Bautista, who's also a Davao guy. He went into film, but I just want to say their
Cool.
names because
Cool.
get credit to
Cool.
them.
Yeah. So that was his beat, basically.
Yeah, they made the music for me. I said, hey, if you want to be on this project, and then so Ronald made that with me for school, and then as for the track mark, this guy Carlos had a CD of beats, and he said, here, just pick whatever you want, and then I actually ended up using 2 from him, from
Wow.
Carlos.
So you guys were like the trendsetters back then, because you know
So
the
who
Davao
owns
music
this
scene was a
music
whole
now?
lot.
You own this music,
He
or
does.
I do,
the
I
three
do,
of
I do.
you?
Yeah,
He
All right.
does.
Okay. So yeah, because I'm getting to my next question. If we play it here, we wouldn't be
Copyright infringement.
doing we wouldn't be
no,
doing
no,
that, yeah,
not at
because we
all,
have the owner here.
not
So
at all.
so if we play that,
Yeah,
we wouldn't be
Yeah.
like what happened to the other guy. Like let's play it. Like, why can't we play it?
I don't. Is it anywhere online? I mean, I know
Is it on
Gabby
YouTube? Can we find it
Gab
on
has a
YouTube?
copy of it, but I
there's
remember it's
one
like
song on YouTube.
10.
Which one is it?
Okay.
There's one song on YouTube. It's called Confused.
All right. All right.
That
Let
was
me. Let me.
the big dance song. Uh,
Right. 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 Right.
it,
Right.
it was the first, I think, the first song that I put out on that CD, on that album.
Okay.
Right. Hang on.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Can you?
make it. A friend made it for me.
Okay. Hang on.
Yeah.
So what's the
Is that
title?
where the
What
view?
was
What is it? Views?
the
Mike
views?
Mas.
The views?
What is it?
No,
Buboy Kimpo
it's
or Mike
called
Master Boo?
Confused.
Confused. Confused.
It's Buboy Kimpo, I think. Buboy
Okay,
Kimpo. It's called Confused, and that's
Buboy Kimpo.
Yeah, because I remember
Alright.
you
I
showed
think
up at
it's
the
spelled
station one
differently too.
time.
Yes, it's here.
It's
It's
okay.
here.
Play it.
Yeah. All right.
No
Okay. Hang on.
copyright
Hang on.
infringement. Okay, so
No,
we
no,
don't
no,
want
not
this.
at all.
We don't want this episode
Hang
to be like taken down.
hang on. Hang on. All right. So that means, hang on. I'll let me do this first. Share screen. All right. Then
Can you get me one?
share audio. All right.
Snickers. All right, so we're gonna
Okay.
check out one of this is one of your older works. So obviously now if you come up with anything, it's gonna be a lot more polished and whatnot. This was with
Right,
limited resources. This was recorded with limited resources. So in fairness, you know, okay, here it is. Buboy Kimpo experiment. Yeah, I still remember this. Thank you. No, Snickers. No Snickers. Okay.
Is there audio? Can you hear the audio?
I can't right now. I don't.
No.
Hang on. Because hang on. It might be open a new tab, Chrome tab. Sure. Ah, okay, here it
Hey,
is. Yeah, sorry.
is that
One
Beastie
more time.
Boys? Intergalactic. Kind of like Beastie Boys.
I
isn't
think
it?
so. I didn't make that video. I think my friend just cut some pictures and then put it all together.
Okay, I have to do it again. Hang on. Let's stop. I have to do it again.
Okay, that's fine. Buboy will
share
do it live.
screen.
He said he'll do it live. He'll do it live at 5 a.m.
All right, okay, here it is. One more time. All right, one more time.
Yeah. I remember Buboy showing up at the radio station, picking me up because we had a beer or two
All right,
that time.
here it
And
is.
he gave me the demo CD. Okay, go. Right lines. This is like so Belle Biv DeVoe, huh?
Probably.
Still no audio?
1, 2, 3, you all know me. My name's Buboy Kimpo, representing Dollar City. Have 22, I'm working for a degree. The
Okay.
superstar comes out on MTV.
Rod, can you hear it?
Yes, I can hear it perfectly.
Why can't I hear it?
You can't hear it?
I can't hear it.
Because you're the source material. I hear it.
All right,
Wait, do you
okay.
hear it?
Yeah, I get it.
Tell yourself if you can do it, then of course I can. And from this day on, watch out for me. My adjectives, metaphors, and similes. People ask me, why am I this way? But you won't understand the thing I'm trying to say. People ask me, why do I scream and shout? If you listen, hopefully you might figure it out. People ask me, why am I this way? But you won't understand the thing I'm trying to say. People ask me, why do I scream and shout? If you listen, hopefully you might figure it out.
I mean, that's better than Master Plan, dude. What do you Sun Valley Crew? What the heck?
Now I'm on your box, my voice is being heard. Listen to every syllable, listen to every word. I'm not the best rapper nor the best singer, but let me break it down before you stop pointing fingers. People feel I'm a poster.
I'm gonna listen to it later because I cannot hear a thing. Oh man.
It's okay. It's okay. It's actually very listenable considering how old it is, right? Right, Buboy? I mean, this was like probably recorded in mono or something.
Right,
I don't-
right.
It's not even like in the highest quality, but it's not bad. I mean, it's
Right.
Right.
You're
So I
known for
think we
that.
should.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, go ahead. You can fade it out. You can fade it out.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do a song sponsorship, Ice, right after. Go.
Yeah, go
That
ahead, go
song was that song was brought to you by
All right. Okay.
Cow Liniment Oil.
Peace of mind. I wish
All right. There you go. All right. There you
Yeah.
go. Wow.
So it's
Was it?
you?
Is it nostalgic for you,
Oh,
Boo Boy?
wow,
Is it
wow.
nostalgic?
Thank you, guys.
Man,
It
I mean,
is
see, the
very,
the thing
very.
with Boo
I'm
Boy
trying
is
to-
like
I'm gonna
My-
try to
my-
get hold of your human beats and the track mark. And would that
Gabby's
be
the
okay if
man.
we play it? Would you be like okay if we play it on this show at some
No,
point?
you can
Eventually.
Even if
play
you're
it.
not
You can
around.
play it.
All right.
Cool,
Okay. At
cool,
least
cool.
so. Yeah.
All right, we got
You
permission.
can
We got
play it.
permission.
I know I have some CDs like hidden away somewhere
Yeah.
because I kept them
Boo Boy
for
has always
myself.
been Boo Boy has always been
But-
this like contrast of personalities because even my wife would say it's like Boo Boy looks like a hip hop guy, but he's a rocker guy, and I'm like, you know what? That's the thing. Like he could do both. No, really. Like you look at him, he's like the first time I met him, I thought he was like a rapper guy. And he introduced me to Eminem and all these guys, and then he's exactly kind of what Linkin Park was. You know, like he can transition from who's a rapper in was it Mike Shinoda? Mike Shinoda, and then he can be Chester Bennington 1 minute
Right.
because he's a legit guitar player. And how many guitars do you
All right,
own
yeah,
now?
okay, let's go to
Buboy?
your guitars. How many guitars do you have right
do you
now?
own now?
Because you're a guitar collector.
Because last time I was there, it was like what 30 plus.
Oh my gosh.
30 plus guitars. My goodness,
Yes,
30
sir.
plus.
Yeah, it was 30.
Yes,
He is a
It was
legit
30
collector.
plus.
You didn't get rid of it, yeah?
Actually,
Like you
the
still
end
have that?
game right now. No.
You have what? How many do you have now?
The end game right now is I want to have right now.
Yeah, how many do you have now?
Before I answer how many I have right now,
You
Before
better
I say
tell your
that,
wife
What's
not
the
to
end
listen.
game?
no. The end game of these guitars is I want to have a shop, my own shop where I can sell the guitars
Okay.
and have guitar repairs. But right now we are hovering around 50.
50 guitars.
My
As I'm telling you,
my
you,
wife and
you
I
do.
own
50
50.
guitars.
You walk
50
in
guitars.
you walk in his house, you go through the back entrance, guitars, and then
Holy
and then
crap.
you go to the living room, guitars. I'm talking like Les Pauls, I'm talking like Jaguars, I'm talking like guitars. And he has acoustics, he has electrics. And the thing with him is he knows how to fix them. Like what he does is he goes on eBay or Craigslist or something, and he'll buy some older guitars, and he will do you is it refurbished? What's the term for that? What is it that you do to some of these guitars?
Just
They're not all brand new, right? They're not all brand
yeah,
new.
I none of them are brand new. None of them. Well, I have what 2 or 3 that are brand new, and then those I don't play.
You have a Taylor,
Uh,
don't you? Was that a Taylor or was that a Martin?
Uh,
Either way,
dude, you guys are putting me on the spot, man.
either way, it's pricey
I
because
have
we have
both.
Jong. We just interviewed Jong, who's a guitar guy, and he has 3, but those 3 guitars he owns are like super top tier guitars. You kind of like you. Okay, what's your favorite guitar out of your collection?
All right, out of
Electric.
your 50 guitars.
What's your favorite electric
what's
guitar?
your favorite electric guitar? Pick one.
It's a Gibson SG.
Okay. Is it the black
That's
one?
not the Les Paul, but it's the previous owner took off all the paint. I think it was originally black, but it's now a really dark wood, no paint at all.
Okay. So what is it, the sound or the feel that you
And
dig about it?
it's the feel. It's the feel because out of all these guitars, I didn't necessarily pick the most expensive or the most valuable one, but my favorite one is the one that feels best to me, which one I can hold for hours and not get tired of it.
Okay.
But because of the previous work done on this guitar, it's like molded to my hand, and I don't think you can find another guitar like it because, like I said, the previous owner took off all the paint, and I don't know which areas were sanded too much or not enough. But
So it's almost like custom shop for you, right? Like it's
best.
almost like a custom made guitar for you now because all the work that's been done and
Almost,
yeah.
but it is not at all like those prices. It's a regular SG standard that actually at first I didn't like it at all. I just wanted one in the collection, and I didn't like how it felt because after he took off the paint, he varnished the whole guitar. So the neck was kind of sticky. So I took the varnish off the neck, and then it became my favorite guitar. Yeah.
Didn't you have a guitar like was it an Epiphone, a Les Paul or something that was autographed by members of, was it Slapshot? Who was it? I remember you had like an electric guitar that was like signed by members of Greyhounds or some band, local band.
No, I have a BC Rich that I didn't really use a lot, and I brought it to a Slapshot. Slapshot was in Davao. I brought it to them, and they signed it. But the Epiphone, That was signed by Up Dharma Down, which was one of my favorites back then too.
Nice,
I
nice.
had an Epiphone
Yeah,
that,
man.
I
Now
said,
I'm
I
recalling
get this
Abnormal
signed
Down.
by them, and then I won't use it anymore. So these guitars that I have signed by Slapshock and Up Dharma Down, I don't use them anymore.
Nice. All right. So who's your guitar idol? Who's your guitar god? If you could have a sit down with one
Ugh.
foreign or local guitar god, who would you want to, you know, get some tips from? Jong was like Mark Knopfler, right? From
Wow.
Dire Straits. Who would yours
Nice,
be?
nice.
See, that's a tough
I'm
one,
sorry,
huh?
I'm gonna have to give you the generic answer and just go with the top of everything and say Jimi Hendrix.
All right, Jimi Hendrix, of course.
That's not a generic answer. I wouldn't have chosen him.
He's the one who.
I would have
No, I
chosen
mean,
him.
but he's the number one. If you say who's your favorite, the number one, or who's the best, number one, people would
Yeah,
say Jimi
Jimmy.
Hendrix.
But the thing is, though, like
Uh,
he's
he
like I don't. Does he have a song that's like top 40, man? I mean, like he's not really. He just makes this sound on the guitar, but I can't really. I can't probably sit down and listen to like a Jimi Hendrix song the whole time unless I'm vibing on the guitar alone. Like God, Ice, you're a radio DJ. You've been a radio DJ for so long. Can you name a Jimi Hendrix song?
No, I know Jimi Hendrix is a guitar god,
Really?
but I
But
don't even know his
see,
sound, man. I don't even know his sound. I know he's a guitar god. Yeah, see, that's how
Yeah.
ignorant I am. Like I know him, and I know he's a guitar god, but if you play a Jimi Hendrix song or a tune, I wouldn't even know if that's Jimi Hendrix.
Do you have
But
a
I know he's a guitar
left-handed
god.
strat? Do you have a lefty strat? Boy, do you have a lefty strat? I mean, if you're Jimi Hendrix is the man for you. Do you at least have a lefty strat? Okay, he does. He does. All
So
right.
can you play
So
the guitar both ways, right and left? Because like I didn't even know that.
no, no, no.
It's like that until when people were talking about Kurt Cobain, like, oh, he's a lefty and
yeah,
blah blah blah. I'm
yeah,
like, all right,
yeah,
well, I thought it was just
yeah.
like one side, like just like this, and doesn't matter if you're a lefty or right-handed. But can you do it both ways?
No,
Can you like play?
okay, Rod's asking me. I can't play both ways, but Rod's asking me if I have a lefty strat because Jimi Hendrix played left hand like Kurt Cobain, but
But he wasn't
because
a
he
lefty, right?
couldn't get a left-handed guitar, he would
He just reversed it.
he was he was a lefty.
Okay.
He would
No, but I
flip
mean the guitar.
right-handed
He would
guitars.
flip, which was
So he
tougher
would flip
because
them.
the cutout is not
Yeah,
for the lefty. Like you couldn't get to the higher
right, right.
notes. The
Even the
so
knobs, they're higher up. So
there you go.
so people who would try to copy Jimi Hendrix would buy left-handed guitars and flip them for right-handed players. So you're playing an
Okay,
upside down guitar.
got it, got it. So it's
Wow.
the
So
other.
that's why
Okay,
Rod's
yeah,
asking me if I have a
it's a
left-handed
lefty.
guitar.
Yeah, because he's right-handed. Because he's right-handed. So, and is that your number one thing now? I mean,
Right,
you're still
right.
into the guitars. That's still your major passion now. I mean, it's still all about guitars for you and Mexican food, maybe.
It, it is. I was just thinking about it actually that if there was something lucrative I could do that I'm having fun and making money at the same time, it would be really repairing guitars, refurbishing, bringing them back to life. Like I want to be the setup guy you go to, or
Yeah, like a
or I can even
guitar
be some
luthier.
guy's technician,
Do you
like
need
personal
certification for
technician.
that?
Yeah.
Do you need a certification for that? Can you go to school for that? Is that
Uh, um, there's stuff that you can pick up by yourself or on YouTube, but there's other stuff that you need formal schooling to do. But luthier, that you really need to go to school to build guitars, to build them from nothing.
because I mean you could
And
work for Fender Custom Shop,
but
one of
but
those
yeah,
guys that
right. But uh, that's
but you
that's
want your
that's
own.
that's a
You want your own.
possibility. But what I have, what that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
your own shop selling, doing
All
lessons
right.
and
So
repairing.
so
even
So
buying.
Buboy, you're born in the States, right?
Right.
Majority of your life spent in the U.S. I just met you. You're like high school here. Because my wifey went to Assumption too, and I think you were like a couple of years ahead. So she would talk about you. She'd like, oh, he's batchmates with these guys. They were like
Right.
the Bugoy guys, whatever. And he would show up, and
Oh,
sometimes
you
he
went to
moved you
Assumption
around.
School?
He did. He went to
I didn't know
Assumption.
that. Wow, I went there at
I
some
did
point.
for
Yeah,
2 years. I graduated.
2
I
years.
graduated from Assumption High
All
School.
right. So it was
Yeah.
already Assumption College of Davao or
I
Assumption
graduated.
School? Was it Assumption School of
I
Davao at that
went
time
in
or Assumption College?
Assumption, and then when I came in, it was Assumption School. When I graduated, it was Assumption College.
He was.
Assumption
Ask
College?
him if he knows the hot teachers, the wife.
No, I don't
And,
think.
ask
I don't
him.
think he
Ask
does.
him. Ask him.
All right.
Come on.
Okay. Do you know? All right. Okay. Jong is listening. But because she was an elementary school teacher, but would you happen to know or remember Mrs. Lianto? Would you know her? Like she was an elementary school
No.
teacher. She was a home economics
No.
teacher. No. How about Mr. Lianto? Do you remember him? It was like a basketball coach or whatever, and home economics teacher as well. No, see, dude,
No, I
no.
know a lot of the
Thank God.
grade school
I'm actually
teachers.
yeah.
thankful.
I'm actually thankful because
See, Jong is laughing because Jong is also from Assumption, and we went to elementary
Yeah.
school together, and we had this teacher, and we talked about this teacher like a week ago.
Yeah, Iceman had
No,
the
but
hots
we
for the
wouldn't know
wife.
her.
Iceman hated
What
the
do you mean?
teacher, but Iceman had the hots for his wife. You know what I'm saying? And
Everybody did. All the
apparently
boys
everybody did.
in the
Apparently everybody
class.
did.
What are you talking
Apparently
about? Not
everybody
just me.
So yeah, I guess that's what happens when you have a hot wife. Everybody hates you. So Buboy, having lived in the States and lived in the Philippines, I mean, how do you cross that bridge when you come to the Philippines? Do you like become a different person to adapt to the norms here, or how is it? I
Or
mean,
do you get
are
annoyed with
where do you
the
think
kind of
you're
culture that we
happier,
have?
or you are more yourself? Because I'm sure you're both. I mean, you're basically both, right? But there are things that you can like. There are things that you can get away with here that you can't get away with in the U.S. and vice versa, right? I mean, that's a dilemma.
Right.
Right? Like my whole high school life was in the U.S. So when I came to Davao, I was like, I entered college. I did not have any high school mates, so I didn't know anybody. It was like I didn't know, so I didn't know what the norms were, what the clique was, what the trends were. So I just made friends with everybody I could make friends with. But there was always a side of me that I could not share with the friends I made with in college. I could talk to them about cafeteria food. I could talk to them about The Wizard, the movie. I mean, there's nobody knows about Monty Python. There are a lot of stuff that you can talk about with people that you grew up in the States with that the people here you wouldn't be able to relate. So you kind of keep that inside. I mean, my wife's a Filipina. There's like a whole how many years of me inside that she could not relate to, right? Whereas in your case, your
Right.
wife's a Filipina too. So I'm kind of wondering how you were able to deal with that because when you went to Assumption, you were in high school. I don't know how many of the buddies you had there were able to relate to where you were coming from. I mean, did you come off as this strange dude, as this cool guy? How was it? I mean, you know,
There were the few who knew me, which I was cool with them. I had a cousin in Assumption who would, tell his friends, I'm his cousin, so just
he
don't
backed
worry
you
about
up.
it. But there was I remember he backed me up, but I remember there was a lot of people who just did not like the way I rubbed off on them
Okay,
just because
I
of
get
how
you.
I walked or how I spoke
Where you were
or
brutally like you could be honest about things,
just
right?
being from here.
Yeah.
So
Right,
maybe
right.
they were like what intimidated with the
Um,
accent.
I believe so. I believe so. Because I had done 1 year in in Ateneo grade school just to try out life in the Philippines, and then I did another year in Ateneo High School.
Right.
That was a first year high school, but I finished high school in Assumption, and it was really different.
It's just
Like
okay.
like
So when you were in
Ateneo,
Ateneo, it wasn't like that. Yeah. So people were just cool and nothing like what happened in Assumption. Is that what you're saying?
you felt like, yeah, you felt like in Ateneo more people more people could say, "Oh, he's another one of those guys."
Right,
Where
right.
in Assumption, they were like, "Oh, he's one of those guys who should be in Ateneo or in Stella." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally get you.
Yeah, like yeah. But
Yeah,
the
these
thing here in the
people.
yeah the thing here in the Philippines, though, I notice is there's not. It's like there's not much in terms of like
No, they
groups
kind
or
of
cliques.
brand you. Like if you're coming from outside, especially from the
Yeah,
States, if you're from
immediately,
America,
you
if you're
speak
a
in
woman,
English.
automatically they'll just like assume that you're a slut. That's
You're a
what they
wild
do.
chick.
That's what
Yeah,
my
you're a wild
friends
chick.
did. Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
wild chick. See, purple hair, she's a slut. I mean, come
yeah,
on.
yeah,
But
Why
yeah.
would
I
you
get
even
but
you.
this
say
was
that?
this was before this was before social media and internet. You know,
Right,
this was
right. Can you
a
believe
lot
that?
Yeah,
of
good point.
yeah,
Good
a
point.
lot of education we didn't have. We didn't have. So
Good
now
point.
it's
Good point.
basically it's more accepted. Like, oh, we're exactly alike. You know,
Right.
it's
But the
before
diff
it was we were unknown, but now
the
it's
first
like
difference I noticed here was like it was like when I came here, like in the U.S. when I was in high school, because I didn't go to high school here. So when I was in high school, literally in the cafeteria, like what you see on movies like Twilight or whatever, it's so true. Like when if you watch Clueless, there is that popular table, there is that nerd table, and
Right.
when I moved to the U.S., when I moved to the
There's
U.S.,
that
I look
immigrant table.
yes, that's
Where
me.
did you belong?
I
In the
look
immigrant
Mexican,
table.
dude. I look Mexican as hell, and I remember when the
And
assistant
your last
principal
name's
interviewed me,
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, and I look like straight from Davao, straight from the Philippines, and he was like, "Okay, so we'll enroll you." And the funny thing was, he was looking at my report card from Capitan Tomas. He's like, "Dang, son, you're smart because our grading system here, 75 is like 74 is like failing. In the US, that's a C. 75 is a C. That's average. Failing there is
Right.
65, you know? So when he looked at my
right,
grades, I was like 90, 91, 92. He was like, dang, you're smart. Because like in the US, 65 is so basically if you had a failing grade here, like you were 75 or whatever in your report card, that's an average. That's a C. That's a C minus C plus. You're not even a D. So he interviewed me and they enrolled me in this class called ESL, which was English as a second language. So I ended up in a class with guys named Sandro, Jimeno, these like this Mexican guys, these guys from El Salvador, these guys from, and they became my first friends. And after a week, the assistant principal picked me up from the class. He said, "You're that guy, right? You're the guy from the Philippines." He goes, "Why did you put you here? You speak English well. I interviewed you." He goes, "You don't need this class." So he took me out of the ESL class, and I was like, I was doing fine. I was like, "Oh, I'm with people where I speak better English than like." And now they took me out and put me in the white people's class. So I was like, because this was Virginia, dude. Virginia is like, it's redneck town. I mean, there are a lot of white people there, and it's not like California where you see South Americans. It's normal there. It was like Virginia, and it was my first foray into American education. So when I was there, I was like, okay, I didn't know the system. And then so I still hung out with the guys who were the immigrants, the guys who could speak English well, because they were my first friends for the first week. And apparently, if you start hanging out with a certain crowd, you kind of get labeled. And you can't just like switch tables with the jocks because I didn't play any sports. I was too small. I couldn't play football. I couldn't do. And I eventually did wrestling. And the thing in the States is they put a premium on sports. Like literally, the football players in school would wear their jerseys during game day, and they had like the varsity jackets and all that stuff. So they literally, you could be stupid as hell. You could be the most, you know, driest personality on earth. But if he was playing football, he was the quarterback, he was whatever. Dude, it was so true. And when I came back to the Philippines, there was no such thing. Mayaman, pobre, pogi, pangit, tisoy, bisdak, it didn't matter. You could be friends with anyone. And that was the thing that kind
perfect.
of kept me here. That was the thing that kept me here because I had the option to go back to the US, maybe go to community college or something. I had that option. My mom went to the US. My mom said, "Stay with me. I'm going to petition you, whatever." Because I'm the only one who's not a citizen in my family because I didn't marry. And when I was there, was my dad's stay there was official. He was a diplomat, so we couldn't apply for immigrant status. So basically, our stay there was official. My sisters got married to white people, so they became citizens. And for me, I stayed here. So when I stayed here, it was like I was thinking, for some reason, it just you felt a sense of belongingness. Of course,
Right.
the perks of the U.S. is there, but I don't know, Buboy, if you felt any of it because you're from the West Coast, you're an LA boy, so there's probably more Filipinos than white people there.
Right. Okay.
It's like it's
My
different.
question to Buboy is: are you
Right.
more Filipino or are you more American?
There you go. That's a good question.
How would you see yourself? Like, oh, I'm more American, although I have this Filipino
I
heritage, but I'm American.
That's a good question.
I
Having said all that,
I always put it up to your high school years because your
to
high
your
school
what?
years are your
High
the
school
most
years, right?
formative
Okay.
years. The high school years. That's the most
Yes, yes.
formative
I
years of
agree.
your life. Like
I
whatever
agree.
music you were listening to in high school,
I
that's
agree.
your favorite for through life.
I
So
agree. I
I
agree.
did high school in the Philippines, all the bonds that I made during high school with friends over there, and I even brought my wife from high school in the Philippines. So I would say I'm more Filipino than American.
All
But you
right.
were,
Okay.
but you were, you
Yeah.
were
Fair
here
enough.
for 2 years, 2 years only, right?
Wait, I
High school. You
no
were.
hang on, Rod, because just that thought is my wife and your wife came from the same high school.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
But
Yes.
what no, I did 1 year in Ateneo. I did 1 year over there in Ateneo
High
High School.
school. Okay.
All right. So this was
I
probably
I
first year
tried it
high
out.
school, yeah.
Yeah, I came back to LA. That's first year high school. I did 1 year over there. I came back to LA. I did 2 years here, and then I told my parents I want to go back and finish high school in the Philippines. And that's where I did Assumption third year and fourth year.
All right.
And
Okay.
that's
So
where
seventh and
I
eighth grade
guess,
was that
that's
was
when
in
I
the
started
U.S.
to grow up really.
All right. And you
Uh
finished your degree
because of
in Ateneo, right?
moving around so
Yeah.
much, uh college, yeah, was
Yes.
Ateneo. But my high school was
Right.
done
Right.
in Assumption.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
because I moved around so much, I never got to do seventh grade. Seventh
Oh,
grade
really?
was taken place by
First
I
year.
think
First year high
first
school.
year
First
high
year high
school
school.
in Davao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
okay, having spent
But
my
I
high
did
school life in the
first year high
States, you're
school
saying
again in America. All right.
so having spent my high school life in the States, you're saying I'm more American? I mean, I don't I think I'm very Filipino. Like when I talk to Ice, we can talk about but I think
No,
I
no,
think
no.
what
No, not at all.
so yeah, because
Not at all.
the point
I'm
being here is
saying
like
I'm saying
it's your formative years, right? Like I agree. Like okay, my taste in music definitely my high school influence.
yeah,
My comic book collection. I still my baseball cards, my Dungeons and Dragons. All that nerdy stuff that I
right.
went through. My first crush, my first high school dance, my first. I experienced all of that in the U.S. and that's that's a
Uh-huh.
side of me because I mean when I left the Philippines, dude, I was like what 10, 11. I was 11 years old, and I came back. I was like 18, 19 already. So basically, my entire teenage life was in the
Right. So you
U.S.
have like a different experience because
A
Boo Boy was
different
born in the
experience.
States. He came to the Philippines, and his formative years were spent in the Philippines, while
Yeah.
you spent your teen years in America, and for the most
Yeah,
part in Virginia.
in Virginia, and then a year in
Right.
Massachusetts, in Boston. Yeah,
Right. But
and
then Boo Boy went to America and decided to stay there for good, and you're stuck there. What the heck's wrong with
yeah.
you, Rod? What the hell's wrong with
Me,
you?
what? Like I'm here? You mean? Like you're saying
Yeah.
why I'm here,
Yeah.
dude? Here's the thing. Philippines will always be home. That's what I was told. Like you can go anywhere in the world, Philippines will always be home. But the thing is, I got to thinking. We have a very small family, like literally like small family. Like I don't have a full on first cousin, because my aunt did not get married, and so basically it's a small family, and we have like a few properties, even like my Lola's old house here. So I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm stuck with that responsibility. It's a good responsibility to have,
All
but
right.
I can't
I
just
missed
like
that. All
turn
right.
my
Yeah, you have a
what I'm
point.
saying. I can't just
You
turn
have a
my
point.
back
You have a
on
point.
We
Right.
still have property Catalunan Pequeño, for crying out loud. So it's like I've never
Right.
even been there. I haven't been there in years.
Right.
So what I'm
That's
saying is,
true. That's true.
like, somebody has to be left here to tend to those, because my whole family's in the States, and if I go to the States, I'm practically homeless. I'm practically like I'm a broke as a rat. Like I have to start from
That's
scratch because
true.
I have no investments in America. Whereas
Mhm.
in the Philippines, I have my grandparents'
You
investments.
live
Like
like a
here.
king, right?
Not really. No,
Not
not even
really a
close.
prince. A prince.
Not really, no, man. Are you kidding? Do I look like a king to you? But it's just that the struggle is real in America, and that's what
Right,
people
that's true.
always forget.
All right, okay. Let's ask Buboy because he's in America right now. Like, what are the struggles now?
What are the
You
struggles
know,
of living in the States?
even before the pandemic. All right, now it's the pandemic. I think everybody's in the same boat. But even before the pandemic, like, what were like the struggles? I mean, compare. I mean, like developing country, and you're in a developed country.
Well, in America, it's always been the working life. If you're not, if if you're the employer or you're the employee, it's the same. You get up every day, go somewhere to you go somewhere to work, and then that's most of your day, and then you go home, and then you have your home life. But everything here, it's work, it's time. Uh, I think that's the big difference of American life and Filipino life. Over I believe over there in the Philippines, there's things you can invest in, and you can have side projects of a lot of ways to make income. Or and then here in America, you gotta go out and do the grind. You have to spend most of your day working, and a lot of people in jobs that they don't like.
That's
uh
true. That's true.
it There's a lot more opportunity here. There's I why are we on this topic again?
Because you're
Because
What
it's
do you
life
like
in the
here?
States.
yeah, life in the States. That's right. Okay, hold on. I don't want to. You don't want you to like get too depressed about this particular
Right. Okay.
issue.
Well,
But
if it makes you feel better, I'm in Japan. So I mean,
yeah, I know.
that's America. If you compare it to Japan, man, I live here, and I've been here 14 years, but I'm still not fluent. Like I can understand 50% of what they're taught. Like they're saying to me, but I'm not fluent. My kid is, like going to a Japanese public school right now, and she's in first grade, and my wife's fluent, and they talk in Japanese because I want her like not to have a hard time in school. So we
And your
decided to
your
like,
wife is a descendant, right? She's a descendant,
yeah, she is. So
Japanese
it's really
descendant.
hard. Like I really get your like where you're coming from. It's like it's a bit different, but dude, like if you work hard there, these people here, man, you should you should you should like get to meet these people. They're like,
But
wow,
but
same shit,
but
different
Yeah,
day.
well,
but in Japan
that's
it's different because they're not as frank and direct as they are in the US. They're actually super nice,
Probably
right, Ice? Super
no, it's
nice.
more of like you have to understand, like like the secret here is like do what they do because they're not like in America. Yeah, like basically like hey,
They have their own
like
thing. Like we're all entitled. We all have rights. We can
right.
speak
So
our
it's
minds, so to speak. I mean, like you go to a Target there, and people can actually just say something to you that if that person said it to you here in the Philippines, you take it as an insult, but it's not. They're just being honest, right? It's kind of like it's not. They're not fighting words, but in the Philippines, we're not used to that. We're used to people being nice and politically correct about everything they say. I mean, yeah, in the US, you pay for something, they'll say, "How are you? I'm good. That's good. How are you? You're great." But I mean, there are people there who will be brutally honest, like especially in the workplace. If you show up late, they will let you know. If you did a crappy
right,
job, they will let you know. Here in the Philippines, they'll talk about it behind your back. I mean, even if the boss is doing crappy work,
right.
nobody will tell the boss that. In the
Okay,
States,
but
they will tell the boss.
right, yeah, but okay. Let's go back to like Buboy's music. Are you still making music though? Like I know that it has been like years after MTV, but are I mean, on your spare time, when you have free time, do you still make music or do you still have that passion for music? You still have the passion for guitars, But how about music? Are you still, you know, into it? Still making it?
I have I have tried to write something here or there. I never finish anything, just because I don't know where it's going. Uh, I it's I do I do get into it sometimes, but it's not a full-time thing. I'll write something a little bit here, put it in a piece of paper, and then I probably won't look at it for a while. But there's all right now it's a want to learn more.
Mhm.
That's what I'm into. I want to get into like music theory and actually trying to speak the language of music, to understand other musicians when they're talking about keys and time signatures, which I don't, which most guitarists don't understand. But how to really read music, and so it's more of that. It's more of wanting to learn more right now, and not really making music. But a question: if I'm making music right now, not really. Just a little bit here and there. I maybe written a song 5 years ago when my first child was born, but that's it. So not a lot of making music right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
So
they're at that age. I
Probably the
understand
same
because
thing that Rod does at home.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
when you have
yeah, with me
young
too.
kids, it's hard.
It is
yeah.
very hard. Oh yeah. Well, Ro doesn't have a yaya because I was about to say like, well, lucky that
We don't
Ro is
have
in the Philippines because they have
yayas,
yayas
man.
and
What are you
stuff.
talking
We
about?
don't have that. Like
Uh,
I take care of my own kid.
Yeah, like, you know what I noticed. You know what I noticed with you, Ice, and Buboy. Since I'm in the minority here, I'm the one in the Philippines. I noticed that you guys, you follow a very strict and rigid like schedule. Like everything is, I guess same with the
Yeah,
budget, same with right, settling your credits and all that stuff. With Ice is the same way. He's like, okay, I have work tomorrow. I have to bring my kid there. I know you too, because when I was there and we spent a short time together, you were already thinking ahead. Like, okay, I have to bring my kid here. My wife has an appointment here. So here in the Philippines, I don't know if we just don't care about our appointments or commitments, but it's kind of like it's like literally I could have a radio show at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning and still be drinking at 12 midnight. You know what I'm saying? It's
You
just
can't
there's
do that here.
just I don't know what it is about the Filipino culture that makes you kind of feel like you can get away with it. And I think, and when I've spoken to Ice and my other friends about this, and I think it always goes back to like, is your work being reciprocated? I mean, your pay. Are you getting the pay that you actually care about? Are you getting paid enough for you to actually care about your job? Because like in the US, okay, like let's say you get a car or you have a house on mortgage, right? So you're employed and your job allows you to pay your mortgage monthly, allows you to pay for your car, allows you to settle your credit card bills and whatnot. So basically, it's a job that you care about because it allows you to live the life that you live, right? But how many really in the Philippines are living off their salaries? Because of people here, when they get their salary, they go straight to shakies, they blow out their whole month's pay, right? I mean, that's just it. So
right.
you kind of feel like here in the Philippines, you're entitled to be lazy because it's the only perk we have at work. Like, but if I get paid, like the nurses there compared to the nurses here, that alone, if you ask the nurses here how much they get paid compared to the nurses there in the US, it's a crazy difference. The nurses there are driving Lexus, they're driving BMWs. Here in the Philippines, you have a nurse here, she's already a head nurse, she can't even afford a freaking secondhand car. So I kind of like, so when you say, okay, how come Filipinos work harder when they're abroad? They get paid more. It changes their life. They see a difference. They can even send extra to their loved ones in the Philippines. I mean, can you imagine if you were here and you're still supporting another relative? It's not happening. And I think even though, let's say, you laugh more here in the Philippines, which I think Buboy and Iceman would probably agree, they'd say, yeah, I laugh more when I'm in the Philippines. I'm happier when I'm in the Philippines. I have a better time. But when you talk serious and you talk about raising a family and you talk about improving your life and being able to experience the things that kind of take you to the next level of adulting, I think you really have to go to a first world country. And I for me, unless you want to settle here and you're fine with your standard of living, then go right ahead. Because in the Philippines, I don't even know what middle class is. What is middle class in the Philippines? I mean, what is middle class in the Philippines? How much income is a middle class family making? Because if you say middle class in the US, I have a kind of clear picture of what middle class is in the US. These are the people that don't pay luxury tax because they don't drive high-end cars and they don't live in high-end neighborhoods, but they live comfortably. But here in the Philippines, what is middle class? Is middle class just being employed? Is middle class just owning a cell phone? Do you have to have a car to be middle class? Do you have to be a homeowner to be middle class? What is middle class in the Philippines? I mean, how does it compare to the middle class in a first world country? That I don't get. So I always get that conversation with my wife. It's like, I talk to her and it's like, yeah, we're fine here. At least we have a home. We're not paying for a mortgage, whatever. And my wife's like, yeah, but when we talk about our kids, at the end of the day, we're always like, if it were for the kids, I would bring them to the States. I mean, not necessarily because, it's going to make them better. They'll learn a lot of bad habits there too. But what I'm saying is, it's just a fresher air. It's just like you don't have to be living in insular village to drive on paved roads, because
Okay, with Buboy, how
right?
like you have what? Do you have a daughter or you have a son?
He has two daughters,
Two daughters.
I
You
have
have
two
two girls.
daughters.
two beautiful
I have a
daughters.
girl too. Like, oh man,
So mga bugoy.
I have a girl. So
Mga bugoy. You know what they say when you have a daughter, bugoy.
but your plan.
I heard.
Okay. Your first kid is like what? 5 or 6? 5 years old.
She's
6
gonna
years
be
old.
5 in 2 months.
Oh man. All right. Wow. That's.
5 years old
I
in two
know.
months.
In 2 months, 5 years old. Then the other one's like what? Like 2, 3?
Yeah,
Oh
she's
man.
gonna be 3 next month.
How do you do that? I
Wow.
mean, people
Jeez.
are telling me to have another kid. I'm like, are you nuts? No. Why would I have another kid? Are you crazy? You want to die? You want to have a stroke or a heart attack? No, I'm not going to have another kid. Like, I'm never going to have another kid. But like, how do you do that? You're like in America, and you have 2 kids. Oh my
And
god!
it wasn't easy
Daycare?
for It wasn't easy for Buboy too. I mean, he's had major crosses to bear. But I think being in the States with the health insurance and everything, it's he's kind of able to tide
Right.
to pass that storm, right? Because if it
Yeah,
was here in the
that
Philippines,
and
dude,
the
I don't
daily
know.
life, man. The daily life.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't like, yaya, paki ano ng ano, yaya, paki. No, you don't have that. You have to do it yourself. You have to,
Utang ka kay Lola. Si Lola, iwan mo yung bata
yeah,
kay
you don't
Lola. Di
have
ba?
that.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
So do you go crazy over your kids,
daycare.
or are you
It's
like that?
scheduled.
A schedule, yeah. Me and my wife,
No,
we have that. Yeah.
it's yeah, Rod said earlier, you're on your schedule. Once you have kids, that's basically your life revolves around your children. And
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
I guess when you're in the Philippines, uh it's pretty much the same way, but I think there's a general more relaxed when I'm there. I think
Yeah.
that's what Rod was trying to get to earlier. It's a little
Yeah.
life is a little more relaxed. Uh, as to here, it's that if you're a group of little children, one mother and one father, there has to be a schedule where all three of those all three of those elements are in harmony.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
and
Oh man.
it's not it's not easy. It's not
It's not cheap. It's not cheap.
it's not always great. No, not at all. But Rod touched on health insurance. It's I think that's one of the best things that that is the perk is a perk of being in a first world country.
I think so too.
It's
Because we
health
have a single
insurance.
pair health insurance as well.
Yeah,
I
because
don't have to worry about.
Iceman's daughter just had like a accident in the playground, and like she was able to get all the checkups and everything. I mean, like here, like you'd be nervous to bring your loved one to the hospital because even PhilHealth now is not covering that much.
Right,
Like
right.
when my wife gave birth, the PhilHealth shouldered like half of the bill. Now, when my wife gave the second birth to her second child, PhilHealth had a limit. Like we're paying squat, we're paying only this much. So, and she was like cesarean section. So I'm like, crap. I'm like, now I get why Iceman doesn't want people to have kids. I mean, the reality of it is, people here in the Philippines, it's like spend now, worry later, you know? And people in Japan, in the US, you cannot have that
Right, right,
mentality. There's no way. There's no way you can like spend now, worry later. Like Filipinos are always like that. Spend now, worry later. Spend now, worry. Okay, it's like they're basing what they can afford based on their cash on hand. You know, like literally, like they would buy the new phone first before settling their debts, right? Whereas in the States, you kind of have a priority list. You're like,
right,
okay,
right.
pay the mortgage, pay the whatever. Then whatever's extra, we can eat a Chuck E. Cheese. Or whatever's extra, we can buy that guitar that Buboy wants. You know, it here in the Philippines,
Yeah,
I
he
don't know,
bought
man.
50 guitars, man, more than 50 guitars.
Yeah, well, who are we bullshitting?
All
Yes,
right,
50
okay, so all right,
guitars.
I know. All right,
Hold
Blue
on,
Boys in
hold
the
on, hold on.
States. It's all right. All right, so yeah, Blue Boys in the States. All right, and it's pretty. Yeah, I think it's the weather's like kind of different. It's still cold there. Like it's here in Japan, it's starting to get like really,
Hot,
like hot, and it's. I'm feeling the
humid.
heat now.
Well, it's getting better. The sun's coming out. So
All right.
when we
Okay, so because we
first
because we
started the
had
show,
him
it used to be
for
cold,
almost an
but
hour now. So let's
it's getting
let's
better right
like
now.
let's ask him to how should we like not sum it up, but in
Yeah, if you have a
in
panawagan or something, if you
yeah
have
in
anything
summary
you want to
about your like
share.
yeah, because our topic is about like the perks and perils of fame. Like that we're supposed
Yeah,
to be focusing on that, but
All right,
you and
all
me, we
right.
couldn't. We're like ADHD people and we can't focus. So
you can't.
yeah. What was like your greatest perks and like one of the greatest perks that you had when you had that like fame in that time, like at that particular time, and what were the perils of it, like yeah, like it
What
like
was the
just
not so
sum it
good?
up. Yeah, the
The
not so good,
the
just
because a lot of kids now, boo boy. We don't have to tell you, they're instant celebrities. Everybody has a TikTok account. Everybody has a YouTube channel.
Right,
Everybody.
right.
You don't have to be a celebrity to be a celebrity. But back then, it's like you were one of the few that got that break, and even then, it did not really work out. Like it did not last. As long as you would have wanted to. And it's not because of lack of talent. It's not because of lack of commitment. You were there and you had talent. It's just that, like what you said with your family, everything has to be in perfect harmony. And it worked out for City,
Right.
you know. But for the people out there, because like you ask kids now, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a YouTuber. Yeah, but how many YouTubers get millions of subscribers? That's such a minority compared to, you can't just rely your future on that. You know, I mean, look at you. What are you doing now for a living? You're not. It's probably not social media related, is it? You're
No,
you're a teacher, right? You're a
not
teacher.
at
You're still
all.
a teacher, right? You're
Right,
still in
right.
school, right? Yeah.
right.
So who would have thought Mike Master Boo would be
Well,
in
that's
working
that's a
in a school?
that's a topic that's a topic we can talk about
Yeah,
privately
for
if you want.
on a different. I
Yeah,
know, right? So like,
definitely.
let's just go back to like,
The perks.
just sum it up, like the perks and the perils of like your fame, even for like short a time, but yeah, that was
Okay,
fame, man. I
so
mean,
okay, um it would directly relate to each other, the perks and the perils, but the situation, it wasn't fully blown and it was just a short of the time. I would say the perks are getting recognized. Like I had this guy ask me to sign his shoe in the middle of
wow,
Gaisano Mall. And
right,
that was a feeling that I never had before. And that was maybe the first autograph I ever signed. He's like, dude, sign my shoe. You're Boo Boy. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now, as for on the same side, people are handing me not even CDs, but they're just rapping in my face saying, can you get me a deal? Can you get me a deal? Like kids who probably wrote one song or did minimal work, and because they have this song, they think I can make them into a Warner artist also. Which
Right.
uh, I guess people are asking for handouts because
Right.
you are you got to that level, and that's pretty much it. I never it wasn't it was a really short time, but it did happen, and then but I do want to say though, I don't think it was ever recorded, or but this was a time before the internet was big. I mean, we had the internet, but social media was just starting. Facebook had just started during Superstar. I believe I was the first person in Davao who represented hip hop on a national level, because
That's right.
hip hop before me, it before Eminem, it wasn't really on an international level. So what did we have there? We had Masterplan, Francis M,
Sun
Andrew
Valley
E.
Crew.
Yeah.
Sun Valley Crew.
So Sun Valley Crew, Seven Shots of
Michael V.
Wisdom,
Michael V.
Death Threat, Michael V.
Death Threat. Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos Agassi. But Carlos Agassi came after Eminem. He was
Yeah,
also
Carlos
a product
Agassi.
of the Eminem fame.
The
So
Amir of
Eminem
rap.
made hip hop,
Wasn't he the Amir of rap?
right? Yeah, that was his nickname. But Eminem made hip hop more internationally accepted. So that's when hip hop competitions in the Philippines started to come out, and then hip hop was perceived as a genre, as well as the divas and the pop singers, and they, hey, we can add rap to this. So I wanted to let it be known and on record that I was the first from Davao, the first one. And if I'm wrong, if there's some guy in Davao who's mad that you forgot about this guy, because I don't know of any Davao contestant who went to Manila to represent Davao in the hip hop category.
Yeah.
So
You have to be.
that
I mean, there's
was,
Bisaya rap now.
I just had to say that
Bisaya,
for myself.
Bisaya rap. But
Well,
Bisaya
I
rap.
think you're
It's
the first
awesome
one. Yeah.
now. Right now, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just different. Yeah.
but right
But I
now
think you're
it's
right when you say
everywhere.
that you were the first one, because I didn't hear of anybody who did that
Are you sure it
except
wasn't
you.
you, Ice? Are you sure it wasn't
No,
you,
dude,
Chris
no.
Rock?
Like,
You never did hip hop.
dude, I just talk trash. You know me. Like, I just
No,
talk
but
trash.
you never did hip hop.
No, I wanted to. I don't have the talent for that. I have the talent
Yeah.
to BS people,
Yeah,
but I don't have the talent
Buboy
to.
definitely.
You know, like Buboy's like a legit like rapper and a singer. Like he plays the guitar. He has 50 guitars. So kind of loud. Like this
Yeah.
guy's legit. So when he says like he wants to put it in a record, I think that I believe him, because that was the first time ever.
He has 50 guitars
when-
because he has 50 guitars.
No, because yeah, like we had American Idol happening already, yeah. Then the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Superstar came about.
Look.
Then I heard that he won. It was like, oh, what's this thing? Oh, it's like they're
He's
just
from
rounding
Davao.
up people who have
From Davao.
talent and whatever. And I heard that, yeah. So I was like, oh, he rapped. So I was like, all right. So I think he was the first one actually that I know of who was
And
from Davao and who went to Manila
who brought hip hop to
did rap. So
nationwide fame.
that's true.
He was a
So I was
trendsetter.
wow.
Like I said, he was the first one who introduced me to Eminem, to Linkin Park. These were all new to me. I was already in radio for, I don't know how long I'd been in radio at the time, but I was still at UR. And he just walks in and lets me
I
listen
think
to
he's
this
the first
stuff.
guy I've seen with the colored hair. I mean, I've seen guys with like Agua Oxinada hair, but I mean,
He had
legitimately,
black, didn't he have like fingernails, dude? Like, your black nail polish and everything?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was I was really young, and I had a very attention seeking personality. So it was
but that worked
just
because I've seen you around. Like, oh, that's the guy. Like,
Yeah,
people
well,
don't forget you.
then I keep on saying,
Now-
oh, that's Rod Rodriguez. Like,
now it's
Rod
nothing now.
Well,
I know it's nothing now. Yeah. For some reasons, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be working with Rod
Yeah,
Rodriguez. I'm like,
nothing
I
now.
picture that guy
That-
with the hip hop
Yeah.
pants, and at some point you had like a skinhead. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen you with a colored hair, and you shaved your
And
head as
skinhead.
well. Yeah, that skinhead, look,
Right,
you
right.
rock that. And I was like, all right,
Uh-huh.
I'll be working with this guy. I'm like, all right. I like hip hop
now,
too.
if you
Whatever.
want to stand out,
And
you
I
have to be normal. You have to be normal.
It's true.
That's it. You want to stand
Right.
out? Be
I was really
normal.
looking
It's every-
forward.
It's just
I
like
was really looking.
tattoos.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like Little Dicky. Remember, Buboy, you told me about Little Dicky, right? I remember you told me about Little Dicky too. The first time you were telling me, Rod, have you heard of Little Dicky? I'm like, no, who's that guy? It's this guy who like does this rap, and I checked out Little Dicky. You know, he you mentioned him to me first, and I've never heard of him. Um, Ice, do you know who Little Dicky is?
Little-
Nope.
Have you
If I
seen
met
his?
him
No,
years
that
ago,
is
I would
Rod.
probably do.
Have you seen
But we
his
didn't.
music video? I want to be like I
Lil
woke up in
Dicky.
Chris Brown's body, and he was with what's his name with Snoop Dogg, rap something forgot. But anyway, check him out on YouTube if you guys don't know. He's like a nerdy Jewish
I don't.
Eminem, you know. Yeah, he's a nerdy Jewish
But
Eminem.
yeah. To be honest, I
So
was like looking forward to be working with the Rod Rodriguez in my head was like, okay, Mike. It was Mike Master, but I'm like, I've got to work with this guy. Yeah.
and then he saw me and he was disappointed. He was like, "Oh
Yeah.
man,
I was like,
a normal dude."
oh. He came in, he dropped off something, and I was like, who is that guy? I was like, oh, that was Rod Rodriguez. I'm like, what? Like, no, that's not Rod. I'm like, no, that was Rod Rodriguez. I'm like, that's Rod Rodriguez? You mean not the other guy? I'm like, who was that other guy? I'm like, oh man, that was Mike Master. We're like, oh, Mike Master. Yeah, of course. Well, man, I thought I was gonna be working with that guy. I ended up with this guy.
I know
yeah,
exactly.
you know.
Well, he'll take what he can get. He has no choice. But
Yeah, and
beggars can't
finally I
be
met him.
choosers.
It was, you know, like I know of him, but I haven't really like met him. I think at some point you were at the same place.
It's just too bad that he was never able to join the Kiloby, the fraternity. I mean,
well, yeah, he was
'cause, I
already
mean,
busy. He was already busy with the
and-
superstar thing.
but the thing with Buboy though, and one thing I can say about him, he's one of those guys that I know. He's like you, who's very extremely comfortable around women on a platonic level. Like, can't be. I mean, Buboy knows this. I've been to some parties with him and his like beautiful female friends, and he's seen me probably at my worst. Where one time I got super drunk. I don't know if you remember. You remember your cousin?
I'm
What's
sure
her
he
name?
remembers because I remember all the time when you're drunk.
No. This
Yeah,
was at
yeah.
this was at Lynn Mar, I think. I don't know, somewhere. But anyways, it was another. We rented a room, and
Did you
he
start
just
talking
invited
dirty
me.
to the women?
No, man, I got so drunk with tequila, and I literally like threw up everywhere. And
All right, okay.
and I don't know where Buboy was at the time, but it was his cousin who got me drunk.
He left.
Um,
He left, man. He was embarrassed.
No,
He left.
no. But all I'm saying is, you two. I've seen you both in action, and you both are two because you two are very comfortable around women, to be around women, and women are comfortable with you guys too. Like they don't think you're taking advantage of them. You know, like I could literally.
We're not in
see
action.
you-
We were just like living our normal lives with our,
No,
with
you
our
were.
friends.
I know, Iceman, but I mean, like you could get away with being with a female friend at Starbucks and not feel guilty about it. Like if I did that and my wifey would hear something like, "Hey, I saw Rod with a girl at Starbucks," I'm gonna get shit for days because like I don't do that. But like with Boo Boy, he can have a girl like have her piggyback or hug her. Like he's seen his pictures with City on the bed and everything, and there's no malice to it. Like he can get away with that stuff. Like if I was sitting next to City on a bed in a hotel room, Ice, come on, she'd be like
Yeah,
creepy.
I know you well enough.
It's different now.
I know you well
Very
enough.
different now. Okay.
Okay, all right, I got
true.
it. Yeah, okay,
All right,
okay.
okay, so Boo Boy, thanks a lot.
You
It's-
lost over.
Okay, before we get
All right.
anybody in trouble, let's end this.
All right. So Boo Boy, thank you. Yeah, it was nice to actually, like meet you here, although it's online, but yeah, it's been a long time coming. So well, nice to meet you. And
You both also share another common thing. You're both my compadres. Iceman
right,
Iceman is the ninong of Raj, and I'm the ninong
Oh.
of Ria. Is eldest daughter. So you're both my compadres, actually.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it goes beyond radio and all that crap.
that's very true. So yes, well, good luck with your guitar collection, and yeah, well, maybe someday you can get back to to your music, and yeah, well, you have a fan in Davao, like Gabby's always waiting, but be careful. He
Yeah.
can be a stalker. So yeah.
And and Boo Boy, I hope you haven't started a pedal collection, because then that's even worse.
Yeah, that would be.
Nah.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So take
All
care,
right.
man.
So thanks thanks for
perils.
coming. Well, you're for joining us and really appreciate it. I know like you have a schedule and stuff, so well, thank you very much. Really
I
appreciate
mean,
it.
look at him. He's in his car. He was dark when he
Yeah,
started.
it's
I
Look
know,
at
it's
him.
I
about
know,
to
right? So
start.
yeah. All right,
Give my
so
love to the
Yeah,
fam. Give my love to the fam.
they're about
right,
to
all
wake
right,
up.
right.
All right.
Ladies
I
and
will. I
gentlemen,
will.
Mr. Buboy Kimpo. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, dude. Bye
All
bye.
right,
All right,
see
guys.
you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right.
All right, so
So
that's Buboy Kimpo. He's a really nice guy, right?
super. He's so chill. No, but don't be misled though. That's his chill. That's his chill mode going on.
Right.
This guy can get intense. I mean,
I know, but you know, I've met people who are just
Oh, he's very nice.
I
He's very
mean,
nice.
you
Dude,
know
am
what I'm
I
saying?
friends with do I have a friend who's an a-hole? Have I introduced you to somebody who's a jerk? I'm probably the worst of my group of I'm
Well,
probably have I?
hang
Have
on,
I?
hang on,
Okay,
hang on.
have
Well,
I?
there,
Have I?
there's
Have I?
me. So
No, but
well,
think
there's
about I
me.
know, but think about it. I'm
There's
probably the
me. I'm
worst.
your a-hole friend, but
I'm pretty sure, like when I introduce you to my friends, you're probably like, "How come Rod is friends with these people? These people
I
are so
know, right?
nice."
Why is he friends with this? Why is he friends with Iceman? I heard that guy's like an a-hole.
I know,
All right.
I know.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
No,
But
no,
yeah, well, yeah, all
right?
your friends
Yeah.
I've met,
See,
they're very nice.
yeah. I don't,
So
I don't. Yeah, we all just judge people early. We're very visual. We listen to gossip. So I mean, you yourself, you've been on that
but no,
end
I
of that.
didn't have an opinion on Buboy. It was just like I've seen him around, thinking that it was you. See,
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
reason I didn't know why. Like, why
I,
was it
I,
stuck in my head that
I
Rod
think
Rodriguez was Buboy?
I think I've heard of people having an opinion about you when you're a Chris Rock. Everybody was like,
I know.
"This guy's like," and I'm like,
Everybody has an opinion of
and,
me.
and I get you because I listen to your show and my show was the same thing. I'm like, I get this guy. Like, I get him. Like, I talk as much, and I don't really care too. It's like, okay, I guess if you care, you're famous. I guess if people start caring about you, you're famous. That's it. We're talking about fame, so
Wow.
you
In
know,
my dreams.
whatever. Yeah, I mean,
But
this is
yeah,
how
but
famous.
Buboy
Yeah,
was at like in a legit
legit.
situation
Yeah,
where he can claim that he was actually famous because he was
legit. Yeah,
famous.
he
You know,
was. He
he was
was.
famous. Like somebody asked for an autograph. Somebody asked him to
Yeah.
sign a shoe, and that's dude. Nobody asked me to sign a shoe. Well, somebody recognized me at the mall one time, like, "Hey, you're Iceman." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Iceman." That's it. That was
And
it.
you, and
2
you're
minutes
probably
of
wearing
fame.
you were probably wearing an Iceman shirt and an
No,
Iceman
no,
hat.
no, 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 no. I was wearing my Iceman on air T-shirt. That's why.
Let me guess, you're Iceman. Oh well. I mean,
Well,
sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good to be famous. Sometimes you become an easy target. So it really depends.
that's
But
true.
like what Buboy said, it was quick. It happened. It's not. He can't even remember if he made 100,000 pesos or 10,000 pesos for crying out loud. But at the end of the day, it's an experience and it's
Of
contributed to his
course,
growth. And like I said, I mean, it's life is a marathon. It's not a
it is a
sprint. I
marathon.
always
It's not
say
a
that
sprint.
it's
It's a
a
marathon.
marathon. It's not a sprint. So for the kids out there who think they want to be YouTube famous and get 50 million subscribers and be a bazillionaire, well, maybe that'll happen to you, but that's not going to be there forever. Think of it. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Always remember that.
All right. Patrick Angelo just sent us a message. As a Filipino immigrant, topics like these are eye openers for me. Patrick, where are you at right now? Like you said, you're an immigrant. So
Hold on, hold
where are
on.
you at?
If Buboy is still tuned in, Buboy,
Right.
my wifey said you were friendly when you were in high school, and you're a good friend of Chichay.
Chichai. Who's
So,
Chichai?
I'll leave it at that. If he's still on board, I'm not sure if he's still on board, but that's what the wifey
Chichai.
said.
Chichai.
Yeah, it's a good friend of Chichay, so he should know what I'm talking about, or what I'm talking about.
He's got a lot of friends. Like you
As
said,
a
he's got a lot of lady friends.
Patrick
Like, yeah,
said,
Patrick,
is this
yeah,
what you read?
where?
That's what you read?
Yeah. Like so,
Philip-
where are you right now? Where are you at? Like what? In America, Saudi, what? Singapore,
Yeah,
Japan,
it's really different when you go to another country. move to another
Melbourne,
country and-
Melbourne,
Whoa,
Australia.
Australia.
Hi, Mike.
I mean,
Down under.
hopefully you're not experiencing any like forms of racism there, because I've seen like videos of like Filipinos being told to get out of the bus or something by some like drunk racist people. Get out of the bus. Get out of here. You go back to the Philippines. Yeah.
Get out of
So I'm like,
bus.
Yeah, I have
And
I
I'd be
have a
like,
friend who he's in Perth and he's experienced that, and he said there have been many times that he wanted to shoot the guy. So, you don't experience that in Japan, right? Have you ever?
like what?
I mean, okay, if you go to like a place where
No, 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 no,
there's a
no, 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 no. I did not experience that. I just got a letter from the city hall saying that we should keep it together. Keep your shit
refrain
together.
refrain from gatherings, you
Not in the
Filipino.
bus, from the city hall directly, and it's a letter
Yeah,
that says, "Please, please, please, we don't want to run out
yeah,
of hospital beds.
but
Please try not to do
sadly,
things with your
Filipinos can't read.
kind."
Some Pinoys can't read between the lines, man.
I
They'd be
know,
like, "Uy,
right?
letter from the ano, ayusa, uy."
I, I talked to one of my coworkers who's Japanese, and we were talking, and I was telling her how my wife felt about what's happening, and she was like, "Oh," I was trying to confirm with her if what my wife was telling me was true, because my wife would be like, "Oh, it's on the news, blah 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 blah." So I was like, "Oh, Sensei, is it true that this happened on the news, whatever?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, actually it happened." And and this person grew up in America. I told you, like she grew up in America. Her teen years is in America, so she's pretty fluent, and she has that American vibe. So when we were talking, she was like, "Oh yeah, that made me wonder. I mean, do they not understand?" Because she's pretty considerate. Like, or maybe the people did not understand. They didn't get the message, or so she was like, "Oh, that's what puzzles me. Do they not understand, or
Yeah,
did they not get the information, or they just don't care?" And I just like I think they just don't care. I think that's what it is. They just don't care. And I tried to explain to her the background, or where these people are coming from and how is it in
yeah,
our country. So I was telling her that it's you know most probably they just don't care, because we have that thing, like we just want to be with people, we just want to hang around together, we just want to be together, we don't care what other people would say. Like,
yeah,
as long
yeah,
as we're together, we're having fun, we don't care if we're loud, we don't care if we're bothering other people, as long as we're
yeah.
doing our thing. And
Because
it's kind of embarrassing.
it's so accepted in our country. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Like, when you watch a movie and you have people who are noisy, or you have people who, it's supposed to be a quiet situation when people are noisy, you actually think twice before telling these people to be quiet. I mean, in the US or in Japan, they'd be told off because you're supposed to be quiet. But here it's like you don't want to be the bad guy and tell them to be quiet when they're
Yeah, but
supposed to be
but then
quiet.
again, it's more of like, for example, one of the problems here is when, okay, there was this one person who lived somewhere, and he would always throw a big party because he owns a Filipino store. Yes, so he would
Hmm.
throw a big party, and he would have like more than 50 people coming to his house. So that's like more
Oh
than
no,
50
that's a
cars
no no. That's a no
parking
no.
all over the
Yeah,
place. So it's really terrible, because like all the cars would be there, and people would be like, "What's going on here? Why are there so many cars? And why are there so many people?" And Japanese don't do that. They don't do parties. They don't do birthday parties. They go to places. They go to karaoke places. They would go to restaurants to meet with people. They will not have a party at their house. But then this guy
yes.
has been doing it every year, and every year the police would come.
Oh
And
my
I don't
god.
know, like they still couldn't get the gist. Like, don't do it, because you can't see your neighbors doing it. Do not do it. But he
That's
keeps on
true.
doing it. So it's just like, well, what, you don't care? Or you know that you've been, like the police came to your house already. Like, so every year they come to your house because of this party. And still he does it. And it's like, I don't know. And people say, like, they would be like, "Oh, grabe, sukuk man dayon, para ka na lang." It's like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
yeah, and I
Exactly.
would tell, I told my coworker, like, because in the Philippines, when we have a party, everybody's there, everybody's invited, so you can't complain because you were there at the party at some point. So you just like,
Yeah.
all right, it happens once a year, I'll let it slip.
Yeah, see,
But
that's the thing too, Ice. Like, I noticed, like, when you mentioned that, like, oh, suko mandayon, that's the thing too. Like, a lot of people think that just because you see things that way, that you're a party pooper already. Like, bago na ka, nakapuyo lang gani kag Japan, stuff like that. Like, people, right? They'll pull that card on you, like, all of a sudden, like, you weren't like
hilas na
that
kayo,
before.
right,
Hilas na
right.
ka, blah blah blah. I'm like, self-righteous na, blah blah blah. I'm like, it's not even above that. You're just stating a fact. You got a letter. The police were called. I'm not even saying anything that presuming anything. It's black and white. It's right there in your face, and you still don't get it. I
It
mean,
is
and
true. A
and
lot of people have
what
been asking me. Like, I haven't had people in my house. Like, I haven't had a Filipino party here. So people are telling me I don't have connections with lots of Filipinos. Like I told you, like all my friends are from work, and
yeah,
I know Japanese people and some like Western people, and so I don't really have like big parties here. And my wife as well. And but then she has like relatives and stuff, and they're like asking her like, "Oh, we haven't been to your house. When are you going to throw a party?" And like, no, we're not throwing a party because we're not doing
no,
that. We're not going to
no,
bring that thing into our house because we live in a, we're the only foreigner here. We don't want to
that's right,
cause ruckus
that's
and
right. Well,
noise pollution or whatever. So
Well,
it's
I'll
like,
tell
no,
you
it's not
this.
happening.
This goes to show you how it is here in the Philippines. Like the other day, the maintenance guy, they collect the trash and everything. So he came, entered our gate. So I'm like, okay, the trash guy. So I took out the trash bags, gave it to him, and he goes, "Sir, kumusta naman, sir? Dugay naman ta wala nakita, sir." I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, stand. You know what I told him? I was like, no, give me nga nakasakua. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? It's COVID, for crying out loud. Am I supposed to stand outside and wait for somebody to like cough at me? Because I mean, I used to jog around the
Right.
neighborhood, and I haven't been doing that because, obviously, I'm trying to avoid getting exposed and all that stuff because I see a lot of people still jog and their kids, Master Yoda's
Yeah.
kid, like, biking everywhere, not wearing a mask, like indiscriminately. So I'm like, it's COVID. I have an infant in the
Wreaking
house.
havoc in the village.
Mass Rider Black, but I mean, but it just goes to show you how, like, even these people will notice that if you stay indoors. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you expect people to actually stand outside? Like, we're looking at each other now. You see me now. I mean, there's nothing to
Right.
do outside. There's no party outside. Why am I supposed to
That's
be
true.
outside? But
That's true.
it just goes to show you, man, that Filipinos just expect you to be outside. Like, I don't know. It's just a thing. It's like, we're Pinoys, let's hang out. I mean, don't you have indoor stuff to do? Jeez, man.
My
But
wife just like posted something, I think 2 days ago, because she was just like so pissed when she got that letter. So she took a photo of it and she was like, she posted it. And it was like, "Oh, can you like put your artista life on hold? Because I know everybody wants to be an artista, but please, it's the pandemic, and
yeah,
if
I know.
things starts affecting me as a person and my family, because we're like, we're both like we're Filipinos, and it's like if I get stereotyped because of this shit, and like,
Yeah,
please
yeah,
just
that's true.
put it on
That's
hold,
true.
because
Don't let
and
don't let the good apples rot because of a few rotten apples. I mean,
I know. So
a, a, you know,
that's
that's
very
how it
true.
is.
And I was just thankful that one time there was this Japanese guy whom I met at a basketball game like before the pandemic, and his kid is one of my students, and he invited me to come over to his house and have a pizza party and stuff. And you rarely get that from Japanese people. So when I got invited, I
Yeah,
was so excited. I said yes, but then. A couple days after, there was like a state of emergency that was implemented, and well, the emergency is not like like curfew and stuff like that. Nothing like that. But it's just like, please don't go to like parties. Don't do stuff with other people that's not your family. And like if you can. And so I was like conflicted. Should I cancel it? Because I already said yes. And I was like,
yeah,
Then my wife was like, oh, we should cancel it because I work in Nagoya and it's like a big city,
yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
be I'll be coming home from work on that day. So we don't really know if I get something from school. And if we go to their house and if we give them something, then that's real terrible. So I called him.
yeah,
They said, "Oh, Kota, it's like I don't think I can do it. Like we can do this some other time, but like my wife's coming from Nagoya, and we don't want to give you anything. So if it's okay with you, we'll just cancel the like the party and stuff." And he was like, "Oh, all right, you're so kind, you're so considerate. But we're not really worried about the pandemic. But well, thank you for um, just thinking about us." And so the party was canceled. So I hope now that he's Japanese and he's watching all these news, he would be like,
mm,
well, that's not really true. Not all Filipinos are like that. Because,
yes.
I
I,
invited a Filipino guy and he canceled it. I did not cancel it, but he canceled it for us. And
I
so
mean,
so he wouldn't steer. I hope he wouldn't stereotype. And if
we're
he
not we're
has
not
friends who would
sure.
say things like that, he would say like, no, that's not true. Because I have a Filipino friend whom I invited and he
That's
just canceled
that's
on me.
that's what's tough about being in another country. I mean, like when we went on vacation in Hong Kong, there are times when you walk in a restaurant and people notice that you're Filipino tourist or something, like the locals there notice, and they kind of like become strict, or they don't welcome you, as openly. And then you kind of realize kind of like maybe why they view Filipinos as that way. Because like if you go to Central in Hong Kong, you have all these Filipinas with their day offs, and they're all like blocking the stairs and everything. They're doing like nail polishing, like all this manicure crap, and they're doing it in the pathway of people. And we're Filipinos, we couldn't pass through. I'm like, but I mean, all I'm saying is we're not trying to be party poopers here. Filipinos are Filipinos, that's fine. But even in Japan, like the government is asking you, it's an implemented ordinance or whatever. It's for everybody's welfare. It has nothing to do with tradition. It has nothing to do with race or gender. It has nothing to do with culture or norms. It has nothing to do with all. It has a lot to do with saving lives and not and stop spreading the virus. And and if we can't even cooperate and understand it on that level, then what kind of people have we become? Like I said, you can take the the girl out of the country. You can't take the country out of the girl, or something like that. The ghetto out of the boy, but you can take the ghetto. You can take the boy out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the boy. But I believe that has to change. You can't just always say this is the norm where I live in. That's how it's be. Like what Pinky said, when Rome, do as the Romans do, and the least that you can do when you are privileged enough to be employed in a country where they trust you enough to work in their country as opposed to their fellow countrymen working, then the least you could do is at least cooperate. And I feel bad for the Pinoys who are discriminated because of a
Right.
few
That's
Pinoys.
true. All right. Once again, we would like to thank Buboy Kimpo for gracing us with his presence
Thanks,
earlier,
Buboy.
and it was a really nice chat.
We'll talk more in
And
detail about COVID and pandemic and stuff, right? I mean,
right,
one of
yeah,
these days we'll have that as a topic for sure.
true,
If
true.
we have an
And
expert, maybe we
yeah,
can have an
before
expert join.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Patrick. Yeah, last message. Fortunately, I haven't experienced any kind of racism here in Australia, but there are reports here that racism is indeed happening. So
Yeah,
be
it is.
careful.
It's
Be
alive.
careful
It's
out there,
alive,
my
people.
friend. All right. So we'll be back on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do the Father's Day uh,
Special.
episode, and okay. Tell your friends. All right. On Saturday we'll have like a time for people to join us actually on screen, and we'll give you 2 minutes to say something about Father's Day to your father, or like whatever message you want to say
Yeah.
to like your
Spread
father,
the word. Spread the
your
word, because
husband,
we wanna
right?
we wanna accommodate as many as
Yeah.
we can for that episode.
So we'll explain the rules on Saturday, but it would be like a minute or two. Like we'll give you a minute or
Yeah.
two, blah blah blah, uninterrupted. Then we'll kick you out. Then
Yeah.
we'll
So,
do our side
hold on.
comments
So
after that.
Saturday is Father's Day. When is Father's Day? Sunday.
Sunday. So we're
Okay.
gonna do the Father's Day episode on Saturday, and Father's Day is on Sunday. So
Got it.
tell everybody. All right. So all right. Thank you very much. My name is Iceman.
Rod Rodriguez.
And we are done for episode 16. And once again, thank you to Buboy Kimpo for joining us tonight. And we are, hang on, I can't find it. All right, here it is. We are out.